I'm Jim Cornette, and I just wonder if any of you are sick and tired as I am of people who claim to be the icon of wrestling. Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper claim to be the icon. Shawn Michaels is the icon that can still go. Bret Hart would claim to be the icon if he wasn't too busy crying about being screwed. And I guess Randy Savage is still thinking. Well, Shawn Michaels is still the single most talented athlete in wrestling today inside the ring. But outside, he's an adolescent, obnoxious jerk who takes his tights and goes home if he doesn't get his way. Bret Hart is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, but if he'd have been screwed as many times as he claims, he'd have struck oil by now. And Randy Savage is a legend, but let's face it, how many records did Frank Sinatra sell last year? But the pinnacle of this icon garbage came at last night's cage match between Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper to determine in their minds only who the real icon is. WCW had the gall to say this is the greatest cage match in history when it was only the greatest in 3 weeks since Hell in the Cell. But here you've got a 46-year-old bald movie star wannabe who looks like Uncle Creepy with a good build taking on a guy with an artificial hip that hadn't wrestled a full schedule in 10 years. It's a tribute to the massive egotism in my mind of both men and an indictment of WCW's promotional policies that this match even took place, much less being the main event when the card was probably the best that WCW is capable of having. By the 10-minute mark, they were sucking wind so bad, the first 3 rows passed out of oxygen deprivation. It would have been funny if it wasn't so sad. Well, I'm sick and damn tired of hearing guys claim to be the icon, especially when it usually comes from guys who just didn't know when to quit. Roddy Piper was my idol when I was a teenager, but that was 20 years ago. Hulk Hogan during his best years was 50% media creation, and those are long gone. This match was a slap in the face to every wrestler that takes pride in his profession. And in my mind, no one man is bigger than this sport. But if there is an icon, it would be a man who has great ability inside the ring and professionalism and maturity outside of it. Let's leave all the petty backstabbing I make more money than you BS with the hat check girl and concentrate on talent and attitude. The Undertaker, Ric Flair, and Steve Austin have never claimed to be icons, which means they're big candidates to be just that. And on a personal note to Hulk Hogan, you are a household word, but so is garbage, and it stinks when it gets old too. I'm Jim Cornette, and that's my opinion.
Colossal Tussle Podcast, episode number 32, and it's a Slim Jim Snap Into It episode. It is I, Randy KJ Johnson, alongside Hollywood.
Just John.
Just John. How's it going, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing
good.
well because we are here. The final of our Odyssey. Our look in at the feud between Hollywood Hogan and Roddy Piper. This is their trilogy of matches in WCW.
Mm-hmm.
We are on to the third one. It's been a good time. It's been a wild ride.
It's definitely been a wild ride.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy we finally made it here.
Mm-hmm.
The match we've all been waiting for.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into WCW Slim Jim Havoc.
Yes, yeah. Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc, 1997. Also, the first time that we've done an actual full year of a wrestling promotion.
Yeah,
we have gone from Havoc 96 to Havoc 97. So it's going to be very interesting to have a look at how things were at the beginning of our podcast tour to the end of our podcast tour. It's going to be pretty exciting to see what type of shape the WCW is in heading out of this pay-per-view. But
oh boy,
before we do this, a lot has happened in current day wrestling world.
Yep.
All right, of course. We've had the big events, the WrestleManias, night 1 and 2.
Yep.
And I'm glad that we've had more than a week to sit on our thoughts, to think about it, to digest some of the things that have happened.
Yeah.
And now we're going to give our 2 cents.
Yeah, now that we've viewed it a couple times,
Mm-hmm.
we've seen the fallout of some of these storylines.
They sure have. They sure have.
So let's start off.
Mm-hmm.
Night 1.
Night 1, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, night 1, we can start by saying, obviously, the much superior night.
By far.
Yes.
By far.
Yeah. The only real kind of dud on that card was the actual opener, Austin Theory and John Cena. That was the only one that really fell short.
Yeah, and honestly, it wasn't terrible, but the rest of the card was just so good that if you're just nitpicking and looking for one to be like, all right, this was the worst one, it would be that one. But not because of overall quality or anything like that. It was just because someone had to be the worst in a great pay-per-view. Right?
And I mean, in fairness, it was a very by-the-numbers match.
Yeah.
It was very just whatever. Austin Theory had to cheat a lot.
Yeah, almost no build to it.
Yeah, almost no build.
Because Cena, it's probably very expensive to get him in that ring.
Yeah. And he's probably phoned it in by this point as well. Yeah, definitely. But besides that, every match thereafter was banger after banger, for sure.
Sorry, to go back to the opener, were you surprised that Cena lost that match?
No, not at all. I was definitely expecting Theory to win. John Cena has no reason to win. He's not going to be sticking around. He's got Hollywood on the brain. He's not going to participate in any Saudi shows. So it's not as if you can plug him for a Saudi event.
Yeah.
Hollywood would not be keen on that because, the Saudi government murdered a person.
I was still surprised that they went along with the match regardless. Like, I remember hearing the rumors before they announced it. I thought it was just a story that people took and just rolled with it. But once that bell rang, I was like, oh shit, this is actually really happening.
It's going on. Yes. So that was a good match. It was a fine match.
Decent match.
Yeah. The tag team
showcase,
however,
whatever the fuck.
Good heavens, did they maximize their minutes and put on quite a show?
Yeah,
quite a show.
Because when you see the match. When I was watching the match live, it felt like it went on for 15 minutes because of all the amazing high spots that were happening.
Yeah.
But in reality, it was only an 8-minute match.
Yeah.
But they packed so much into those 8 minutes that it was easily one of the best matches from either nights, one or two.
For sure. Yeah. Foolishly, I suppose we thought that whoever won those matches would be first in line for a tag team title shot for both the men's and the women's.
Yeah, because the way they played it up with it being a showcase and the best of the best tag teams, and no.
Neither one of them are number one contenders.
No.
Coming out of the show. What?
Because I think they announced the other day that the Usos are getting a rematch at the titles.
Yeah.
And then everyone else just went back to the mid-card.
Honestly, what the hell?
Yeah, I think Strowman and Ricochet are starting a program with the Viking Raiders. I don't know what Alpha Academy is doing, and I have no idea what the Street Profits are doing. So, no winners.
Nonsense.
No winners in this.
Nonsense. Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, heavily delivered, over-delivered as expected.
Every time. I want to hate Logan Paul, but every time he gets in the ring, he does something memorable.
I mean, I hate him, but I hate him in the good way. I hate him because I want him to lose all the time, and I want him to be, get his comeuppance.
And now,
but he's doing good shit.
The E's actually finally letting him be the heel that he's born to be, because his whole babyface thing, it's you can't. He's naturally unlikable. You can't turn him into a babyface.
I mean, they did the best shot with the Miz, because if you want to put him against somebody that's unlikable, and get him cheered, he might be the guy to do it. But
it got to a point where people were just we're just gonna boo both of you.
Nevertheless, But they put on a great showing. KSI, whoever that is, getting a frog splash through the table.
Yep.
And that was highly entertaining.
Listen, it was an entertaining match. The whole seeing who's gonna be underneath the bottle thing.
Prime, yeah.
You know, so it was an entertaining match.
It was indeed, yes. Then, God, what else was there?
What else? We got Trish Stratus, Lita, Becky Lynch.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah, that thing.
Defeating Damage Control in a match that went almost 15 minutes. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. Lita's very, very much past her prime. As much as I love her, very much past her prime. Trish still has a little bit in the tank, but it was basically Becky versus Damage Control with interference now and then
with some spice, with some flavor,
like a little sprinkle of Trish and Lita here and there. Damage Control lost, which I think should be the end of their whole group, because
you would think so, but they're carrying on the last couple of weeks.
It's like since they started, they haven't won any of their major feuds, so it's like, what's the point of keeping them as a tag team at this point? But they're still going with them for now, but I feel like whatever momentum they had is completely derailed. And then on the other side, I think they're moving on from Becky and Trish. They're doing Becky versus Trish now instead of the whole trios tag thing, whatever the fuck that was going on.
Do you think that with Trish turning heel and having attacked Lita, that mystery attack of the backstage?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Are you thinking that maybe those two are gonna have but one more match before we get to Becky and Trish?
I think the plan is going to be a tag match. I think both Trish and Lita would want to have that one last singles match. I don't think they can put on one last singles match. So I think I
don't think Lita can.
Yeah. So I think the mystery attacker is going to be someone who's going to be associated with Trish, and then it's going to be Trish and her mystery partner versus Lita and Becky. Because I honestly don't think Lita and Trish can go over maybe 5 minutes. Just have a huge spot fest for 5 minutes, but I don't see that. So that's my prediction.
Gotcha.
I feel like that's the direction they're going in.
With the tag.
I'm going with the tag, but I've been as you can see from my prediction challenge, I'm bad at these, so I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, but what you weren't wrong about was Charlotte and Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rhea getting the title.
On a great match.
Yeah, I will say the second half was great. The second half was great. Because the thing about it is that during that first half, the really damning thing was that Charlotte wasn't getting any reaction for her moves at all at first.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't boos, it wasn't cheers. It was silence. Because I think for a lot of it,
the crowd, I think they're just tired of Charlotte at this point. They're tired.
Very much so. But the sad thing is that she just came back. Because she only came back in December.
But she came back and she did it. There wasn't no character change or anything. She came back and it was kind of like the same Charlotte. Like they tried doing the babyface thing, but it's Charlotte. It's Charlotte. You can't
unlikable Charlotte.
You can't have her as a babyface. And then the whole Rhea thing, even though they had a history, they really didn't play into it a lot. So we were coming into the pay-per-view kind of like, all right, this is happening. And it took a while, but they actually did convince the crowd after,
once she got backflipped onto her face,
the crowds were like,
the crowd was like, okay, all right, she's willing to ruin her face for the sake of us. So, and then it turned into an incredible second.
Listen, if you ever want to get the crowd on your side, just almost die.
Almost smash your face in, and there you have it.
But what people were tuning in for, Ray and Dom.
Yes.
That was goodness. I know a lot of people are tuning in to see what happens there.
What a wonderful performance. What a wonderful sports entertainment performance.
The amount of heat that Dominic has Holy shit.
Delicious. Delicious. And he just owns it. And that's what I love about it.
Prison
When he's
Dom,
coming
man.
out, he's coming out all handcuffed and he's got the Rey Mysterio mask on. And he's just acting like, oh yeah, I'm this super tough dude.
No one else can do that.
Oh.
No one else could do
And
that.
he just owns it.
Yeah.
He just owns it. And you can tell that he's such a chicken shit heel. And the fact that he lost is even better to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yes, he should. He should. Because he's a chicken shit heel. And yeah, he should get his comeuppance and he should lose. And it doesn't hurt him at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And he drags that heat that he still has, even after losing. Even more so, I would argue.
Yeah, as his reaction.
Jesus, the last couple of weeks on
yeah,
Raw
like
and SmackDown.
Yeah, where he couldn't even get a word off because they were booing him like crazy.
Exactly. That's impressive to still be that much of a heat magnet coming out of a loss than you did going in.
Yeah.
Very impressive. And I know for a fact that Dominic is going to continue to grow and probably be a US champion by the end of this year. I am calling it now. Once Austin Theory loses it, whatever babyface has it, if Dominic is still on Raw, he's taking that title. Guaranteed.
That would be really cool to see, but again, we have to wait till this whole draft that they're doing gets out of the way.
But if he stays on Raw, but Judgment Day might be drafted over to SmackDown if they're going to keep him with Rhea. But if he stays on Raw, he's getting that title. At the very least, he's getting another tag title shot for sure. He's holding that belt with the Priest.
All right. So do you want to get into main event time, or do you want to run down night 2 and then do both main events?
Yeah, we can do that.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
All right. So night 2, we got Brock Lesnar versus Almost, which. As it says right here.
Under 5 minutes. 4 minutes and 55 seconds on the money. 1 F5, 2 horrible bear hugs. What was the point?
Listen, you said it here. It's going to go under 5. I didn't want to believe you, but 4:55 on the fucking dot.
He managed to fit in 2 rest holds in 4 minutes. 2 bear hugs in 4 minutes.
If he would have held on even a little tighter, I would have won. I would have won that challenge.
You would have gotten the over. You would have gotten the over 5. But no, if I know Brock Lesnar the way I know Brock Lesnar, 5 minutes, bing, bang, boom, we're in and out.
Listen, this didn't serve any purpose.
Not at all.
No one ended up looking great after that. So it goes to show. Then we had the women's showcase,
vastly inferior.
Yeah.
To the men's showcase.
Yeah, they went exactly the same because the men's went 8. Hold on, let me look at the exact number for you guys. The men's went 8:30, and the women went 8:25. So a 5-minute difference, but a crazy
difference.
But a crazy drop in quality.
I
know, an insane drop in quality. Ronda and Shayna ended up winning, even though they barely did anything.
Ronda didn't do anything at all. I believe she's still injured, from what reports tell us.
Yeah, and she showed up at the very end, I think, just for the finish.
Yes. And it seemed as if Shayna Baszler had hurt herself as well, because apparently, and I didn't see this, she had lost a shoe. She took off her boot at one point.
I didn't see that.
She could have rolled her ankle at some point. So yeah, the female winners were hurting by the end of it. And they didn't do anything. But yeah, it was a vast drop in quality. And this was what I was noticing from a couple of the highlights and actually even on the Halloween Havoc show. A lot of happy feet. A lot of female, they're just kind of up and down on their feet. They're really fast on their toes.
Yeah.
And that makes them really uneven looking. Every time they're trying to go for something, they're just they're just happy feeting it up. It's very strange.
And what I find as well, especially with this match, is the fact that the transition from one thing to another.
Yeah.
Again, they're doing it in a safe way, which you should.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's too safe to the point where like I can see you waiting for your opponent to
certainly
get in position, which kind of like throws you off of the match.
Yeah.
Like again, I know you guys are doing it in a safe manner, but that whole like the happy feet thing, waiting for your opponent and all that, kind of, I don't know. At least for me, it kind of takes me away from the match a little bit.
What's funny is that this past week on Raw, apparently, when Liv and Raquel won the tag titles, is that Liv Morgan apparently got knocked down off the apron, and she was just sitting there, and she was very clearly waiting for a cue. And apparently somebody that was in the audience, or a bunch of people that were in the audience, were just looking at her, and she's just sitting there, not doing anything, and one of them just yells, "Get the fuck up!" So yeah,
I feel like that's the only improvement that I feel like the women's division needs to work on, and it's that like waiting, that like the waiting for your cue type of thing, where they make it seem way too obvious that they're waiting for the person to get in position, and it's like
it's heavily scripted, scripted behavior, and they need to get out of that.
One that wasn't like that was the next match.
Oh god,
between
the triple threat.
Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew for the
Sweet
IC title.
Baby Jesus.
Yeah.
As much as I wanted Logan Paul and Seth Rollins to steal the weekend, and they were very much on the cusp of doing so. One of the top matches of the weekend. Yeah. But good heavens. Like, you want to talk real as genuine can get.
Lord.
While still being incredibly safe, because it doesn't seem like anybody was tremendously hurt.
No.
Drew McIntyre is apparently banged up going into the match.
Yeah.
But besides that, but good heavens, the chops, the kicks, the 10 beats of the battle that went for 30. Oh, the power bomb on top of another man.
Just everything looked fucking painful.
Yes, it looked vicious and real and raw.
Yeah.
And it was like it was the perfect balance, I think, between moves and stiffness and brutality, and it was beautiful in its brutality is what it was.
This match, I feel like every 10 seconds you heard the crowd just go, "Oh.
Yes.
Oh." It was one of those. Like,
Jesus.
Everything looked painful, everything looked real, but it was a beautiful match that probably stole the weekend. I would have it as 1 or 2, depending on who you ask.
Yes, yeah. For me, what edges it out is what we're gonna discuss later on. But good Lord, if it it's a toss-up, and either one of them, if you went and watched back that match, you'd probably be like, yeah, it's the best, and then you'd watch the for me, the tag team match main event. Yeah. But if I went back and I watched the triple threat, I'd be like, oh no, this is probably better. But then I'd watch the tag match and I'd be like, no, this is better. So it's 1A,
1B type of thing.
Too tough. Good Lord, did they bring it? Yeah. Yes.
And then the next 2 matches for night 2 was Bianca Belaire versus Asuka.
Oh, sloppy match.
Yeah, Bianca.
I'm sorry.
Retaining.
I'm sorry, because a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, what are you talking about? No, it wasn't sloppy. It was sloppy, guys.
They had
Watch it.
They had no chemistry.
Yes, I know that we like them both because I like Bianca. I love Asuka. But they could not. It did seem like they were working against each other. Yeah, like in
especially
the literal
sense.
sense.
Those first couple minutes, that was like it was brutal to watch.
Yeah, and it was just kind of a whatever kind of finish for me as well, where she just powers out of the arm bar into the KOD. Yeah, like there was nothing much to that to me.
I didn't enjoy the whole like mist and then she ducking the mist. I was like, I mean, it's cool, but
it's fine.
I don't know. I didn't like the whole ducking the mist part. I was like, that just seems kind of like a cheap way to
just a bit of silliness.
Work around that.
Yeah, to me, I found it a very sloppy encounter. Very sloppy encounter. I mean, the the ladies are who they are.
Mhm.
I like them, but yeah, not a good showing.
Yeah.
Not a good showing, in my opinion. And I don't know what the follow-up is. I don't know who's challenging Bianca at the moment, if anybody.
I honestly can't remember who they're putting up against. I know it's not Asuka again,
No.
but I can't remember who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, co-main event:
Yes.
Edge,
Brood Edge.
Brood Edge.
Get it right.
Sorry.
Get it right. It's Brood Edge
Brood
specifically.
Edge versus the Demon,
Yeah.
Finn Balor.
The Purple Demon.
Yeah.
The Purple Demon King.
And we finally got a regular colored cage.
but at what cost?
We got a regular colored cage, but the props were color coordinated to each man.
Yeah, red for Brood Edge.
And purple
and
for Finn.
Purple! Purple!
Why would you need a purple kendo stick? What is the purpose of that?
But like not black. It's something that doesn't look so ridiculous. Purple. And it's like Barney the dinosaur purple.
Yeah, it's not dark purple. It was like light purple.
God.
So we got our regular cage.
Yes.
But we had to suffer through red and purple.
That's right.
Objects.
Yeah, that's right. Red and purple table. Red and purple sticks.
Red and purple
chairs.
Yeah.
Oh Lord! I expected one of the ladders to be the color coordinate.
I honestly thought one of the ladders were gonna be
ridiculous. And I remember turning to you, and I'm like, I understand why old school people just fucking hate this wrestling because you get shit like this.
And then you get a point, like the match was whatever, it was decent. We got to a point where Edge just waxed fucking Finn in the head with a chair.
It's not funny.
Splitting him open.
It's not funny. But my Lord.
Splitting him open.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna stop the match.
Yeah.
But apparently the ladies at that ringside stapled him up and gave him some injections.
Yeah,
and
they injected his
and
head.
Just pushed him back out there.
God damn.
Luckily he had the face paint, so the blood you couldn't see the blood that much.
But
which is a fucked up thing to say.
Yeah, the mat was covered in it. The ladder had a splatter of blood.
Yeah.
Like, good Lord, it looked like a Grand Theft Auto event.
They managed to finish the match, but at what fucking cost? That was a mess.
Especially because he got up on the cell and did a coup de grace through the table.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So night 2 wasn't great.
No.
It wasn't great.
No.
A lot to be desired. But now let's go on to the main events.
Yes. So obviously we need to start first with the tag match.
No. Wait. Whoa.
What are you talking about?
We gotta talk about the true main event.
Oh no.
Yeah, man. Come on.
No.
So
all right, go on.
We gotta talk about the true main event. So, the bloodline stuff's cool,
Yeah.
but The Miz and Snoop Dogg put on a performance of the ages, back-to-back nights. First night versus Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee.
He beat The Miz.
I should have picked him for my bonus.
You should have.
Because I knew he was going to show up. I knew he was. For some reason, it just went to the back of my brain.
You know what it is? The reason I didn't even think he was going to show up, because I forgot that they had hosts for WrestleMania. I thought this year they were just going to be like, we're not doing this shit again.
Because it doesn't make any sense.
There's
no purpose for it at all.
But they did have Snoop and Miz,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, fuck. When they were talking about, like, oh, there's going to be a match, I was like,
here comes Austin.
Here comes fucking Pat.
Yeah.
And that he came out, did his Pat McAfee thing, beat The Miz.
Yes.
Night 2 is where the headlines happen because it was supposed to be The Miz versus Shane McMahon, returning Shane McMahon.
Oh dear.
He gets in the ring. They ring the bell. Shane's doing his thing, and as commentary, is saying
He's still got it.
Because he's jumping, he's doing his thing.
He does the leapfrog.
He's doing the leapfrog, and they're like, yeah, he's still got it. As soon as Michael Cole says these words, quads blow the fuck out. It's not funny.
I have such a soft spot for Shane McMahon. I really do. I love Shane, and I always have, and I always will.
Shane's the true Mr. WrestleMania.
I love Shane McMahon. So, like, one of my favorite returns ever.
He's sort of like
him in 2016, but
he's sort of like Logan Paul in the fact that you're like,
oh,
there's no way he's gonna be good, and then he ends up doing like some dumb shit that you're like, wow, that was great.
But then, like, we were watching him, and we're just like, man, he's old. He looks so old. And you were like, he's moving so slow. And then he does the international, the drop down, the stand up, the leapfrog. And
He's
then,
doing the hits,
and then you were about to say, oh, okay, he's got something. And he stands up, and he can't stand up. And he tries to stand up again, and he just collapses. Yeah. And the Miz has got to be like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
Yeah, because I remember me and you were like, as like we do always, we were dragging on poor Shane.
Yeah.
We're like, he's old, he's washed.
Yeah.
He starts doing his thing. We start coming around like, you know what?
Maybe.
Our bad.
Maybe.
We were being grouches, and no.
Oh, man. And then, Snoop Dogg has to save the segment.
Yeah, so he goes down, tries to get back up. His knees were like, sir, you can't do this anymore.
No.
He collapses in a pool of sweat.
Yeah.
The Miz is pacing around like, oh,
yeah,
fuck.
What's he gonna do?
This is night 2. This is technically the co-main event because it goes on right before the main event.
That's right. Yes.
So Miz is like, oh fuck, what do we do? What do we do? You don't see this on the broadcast, but on Instagram you can see one of the cameramen telling Snoop, get in there and just punch him.
Just nail him
and
in the
Snoop,
face.
Snoop and the Miz, the true professionals. Snoop gets in, punches the Miz, does the worst rock bottom I've ever fucking seen attempted.
The people's elbow.
But the people's elbow. One of the worst people's elbow you've ever seen.
He ran the ropes like Kelly. He's very good. Holy shit. And
oh my god.
To me, he delivered the worst and yet also the best elbow. Like, the amount of air that he got on that elbow is incredible.
He does run the ropes like Kelly. Holy shit.
He ran it like Kelly. Managed to drop the best elbow that I've ever seen in terms of air quality control.
That's actually funny as fuck, man.
It was very well done for a segment saver.
Yes.
Yeah. Poor Shane McMahon.
They save the segment. Shane gives a thumbs up as they walk away.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Fuck.
But you have to know that because this happened, as soon as he's better, he's gonna want like a WrestleMania program.
Oh my god!
To redeem himself.
1000%.
And it's gonna be terrible.
Knowing Shane, he's probably gonna want like a whole storyline.
Yeah.
He'll probably he's probably gonna go after the Miz and everything.
No, he'll call out Snoop Dogg.
You
stole my WrestleMania spotlight.
In any other world, I'll call you crazy, but knowing Shane, he'll probably do that.
Absolutely.
He'll probably do that.
And he'll want to elbow fucking Snoop Dogg through the table.
A handicap match, versus Miz and Snoop Dogg.
Absolutely.
Knowing Shane, yeah. But on to the real main events. Main event for night 1, conclusion to the bloodline storyline between
Part one.
part one, which is Kevin Owens and Sami going after the tag titles.
The tag titles in the main event of a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The Usos, who were constant openers and dark match and pre-show people, main eventing a WrestleMania. Sami Zayn goes from Johnny Knoxville comedy to main event and one of the hottest wrestlers in the world. Kevin Owens main events 2 WrestleMania main events in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do much better than that. And quite frankly, 4 people no more deserving of that spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, because even when you say Kevin Owens 2 back-to-back main events, you have to realize the first main event was against Stone Cold.
Yes, it was.
So
in Texas.
Yeah, so we are counting it, but I'm not counting it. Hey, that doesn't count.
A main event is a main event.
I guess. But these guys truly deserved it. You know, Sami, being like, you know what? You guys want to put me up against Knoxville? I'm going to have the best match of the night.
So good. My
Kevin
God.
Owens, you're going to put me up against an old retired legend. Nah. I'm a give you your money's worth.
Spamming the suplex button. I remember that.
So these guys have just been fucking working. Like anything that you give to them, they're just gonna turn it into gold.
Yes.
And for all that to pay off here, main event.
Yes. And it felt big time.
It felt big time.
It felt like a main event.
Big time. I was worried at first because I thought it was going to be the opener. So when I saw Cena and Theory open, I was like, okay, we're safe for now.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm glad that it went after Ripley and Charlotte, because I feel like the emotion of that tag match would have blown up the crowd and they would have been even more quiet for Ripley and Charlotte.
But again, we've been screwed over by WWE so much that you don't know what to expect. I was like, they should be main event, but knowing them, I don't know where the fuck. Like, they could be like in the middle of the card for all I know.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was a great main event. It fucking delivered.
It did. Sami
finally got his revenge on Jay.
That's right.
Again, it should have been Sami Roman, but I'll take this. I'll take this over not having anything. So great main event. And it really capped off the better Mania for me.
Yes.
That Mania was flawless. And then I was like, you know what? It's up to them to deliver, and they did deliver.
Absolutely.
I have nothing but great things to say about that main event.
Yeah. It was a superb main event. Superb on every level. The storytelling, the athleticism. Like, the only nitpick that I have seen was that the Usos delivered a combined 22 super kicks. Which is just an outrageous number, I will grant. But it's still, it can't impact that match and how it turned out. And just the pure emotion. I was getting teary-eyed when they won, and what that meant to Canadians. Gotta love that. That's just just a little side thing for me. Just 2 Canadians.
Guys that came up in the indie scene.
Yeah, just very indie darlings. Have no business being where they are in terms of WWE, because you still have the stigma of the land of the giants and the land of the big beefy boys. Yeah, like you have to look a certain way.
Yeah, these 2 are like the complete opposite. You got the short guy.
Exactly.
You got the guy that's according to Vince and those guys out of shape.
Yeah.
So these 2 guys are like the complete opposite of what we've been conditioned to.
And even Jay and Jimmy, I mean, they're not built like
true
gods. They've both got dad bods. They're both flabby Samoans.
True.
None of them. But it doesn't matter. The athleticism and their storytelling and the storyline of the bloodline and KO and Sami. beautifully done. Like, there's not a better 3, 4, 5 months for those guys. Like, absolutely incredible. And a perfect end point to their storyline.
But no.
Needless to say, that didn't happen.
They're gonna milk this for another couple months
because they're still going with it.
Yep.
And it's gone sour. If cast your mind back to SmackDown versus Raw 2006-2007 GM mode, it's got the blue thumbs down. It had the 3 red thumbs up. It's got the blue thumbs down.
Yeah,
it's gone cold.
This is the point in GM mode where Triple H is texting you and being like, "Hey, you should probably move on from this."
Rivalry on cooldown.
Yeah, I feel like they're dragging this on a little bit too much.
Yeah. But in a bubble, the match itself.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Incredible way to cap off the story. And it was an incredible setup as well for the main event of night number 2.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. It's what everyone's been talking about.
Yeah, I've had a lot of time to think upon it.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of time to think upon it. And I have come to the conclusion that they have made a egregious error and that the lightning that was in your bottle will never, ever, ever come back to that ever again.
Yeah.
Ever again. No matter if Cody Rhodes wins the title or not.
And listen, I was telling you, I've watched WWE religiously for years.
Yeah, they are heartbreakers.
I've seen them do this before. I saw them showing footage of Cody entering the arena.
Yeah.
I saw them put footage of him hugging his dog, high-fiving babies, and I'm like, he's gonna lose.
Hugging his baby.
He's gonna lose because once you see them do all this pageantry, it's to let the people down. I've seen this countless times. So when I saw all the build-up that they were doing around it, I was like, he's fucking gonna lose. And just like that, he took the pin. In
a very lame way.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
A very deflating way.
Because here's my thing with this whole situation. When they bring in Cody, I'm like, this isn't going to work. Because his whole thing was kind of like losing momentum in AEW. So I'm like, fuck. They're going to bring him to WWE. This isn't going to translate. His gimmick, his Homelander gimmick, I'm not sure if it's going to translate well to WWE. But he gets in there, and immediately the people love him.
He nailed it.
They start setting him up for Roman, and the people just gravitate towards Cody, which I was completely surprised by.
It worked.
And you just see people every week just getting more and more behind Cody. Every segment he does talking about his feud with Roman, him versus Paul Heyman, him versus Roman, him versus the Usos. If you go to the WWE's YouTube page, those have some of the highest views out of any of their videos. So I'm like, you know what? This might happen. They might fucking pull a trigger on this. And then you see the entrance at Mania. One of the best entrances at Mania.
He was also drawing huge numbers at house shows.
Yes.
Without a title.
Yes.
He was drawing huge numbers.
So even though I knew they were going to make Roman win because they're in the business of breaking hearts, for a second I honestly thought they were going to put it on Cody because the way the fans just went so hard for Cody. I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time. Yeah. So,
but evidently not. And I think that they have ruined it.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be past its sell-by date by the time he ends up winning, because I do think that it will end up being him. I don't think. I don't think it'll be Jey Uso. And why would it be Jey Uso? Because if it is Jey Uso, than the problem that I had with Sammy winning the title or Cody winning the title was that they immediately get put into this mid-card feud.
Yeah.
And there is nothing more mid-card than giving it to one half of a tag team.
Yeah, because if you give it to Jay, then
it's a beautiful moment.
It's a beautiful moment.
It would be fantastic and cathartic.
But then you would have to continue this goddamn storyline, because the only person that would make sense would either be Sammy or Roman, and I don't think they're gonna do Sammy versus Jay for the title.
No.
So they're gonna have to do Jay again. I think it's just people
they
like this storyline is so deep that people just fantasy book it themselves.
Yeah.
And then they get disappointed.
Yeah. But you have to factor in business.
Yeah.
You have to factor in the business. And Jey Uso cannot carry the undisputed title.
No.
I'm sorry. He cannot carry the undisputed title.
It's not happening. The only person that could take it from him that would make sense would be Cody.
Would have been
Cody. Well, it would be Cody because I think they're still going to do it, even though they've lost that momentum, and he's gonna probably fucking win it in fucking, I don't know, SummerSlam or Roadblock or some shit.
It'll be next WrestleMania. Well, we'll have another year of this, and by next year, it'll be we want it just to end.
Yeah.
So it won't feel as cathartic because it'll just be an ending. It won't be like, oh, this is the right time we feel and the groundswell of support. It'll just be, thank God it's over. And the most telling thing for me, because they're like, oh no, it's good heat. Roman is the biggest heel in the business, which, okay. But when the 1, 2, 3 happened, I wasn't like, boo Roman Reigns. I was like, what have you done?
Yeah.
I was thinking more about WWE creative and how are you going to continue this story rather than, oh, boo Roman and Cody, oh, come on, he'll get it back. I didn't think that, and that's a problem.
No, and the thing too, that once I saw that they were selling the company, like it was almost a done deal.
Yeah.
That was when I was like, okay, this is a lock that Roman's going to win. Because usually when there's a big decision, they don't change champions. I've seen it happen. I forgot when the last shit that they did. I think it was the Peacock deal. And there was rumors that the title was going to change. And they didn't change it because the wholesale. So I'm not sure if the merger played a part in them being like, no, let's stick with this for a little bit just for the investor's sake or whatever. But it was such a dumb idea.
Yeah.
It was such a dumb idea. Like, I love Roman Reigns, but the amount of love that Cody had, you're not going to get that again.
No.
Never again.
You had the most brilliant, I would say, 5 months worth of storytelling. Or even if you just want to do Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, it was the perfect 3 months that you could possibly have for a guy coming back from injury to winning the Rumble in spectacular fashion, to having Sami Zayn first turn on the bloodline, and then that goes into the Elimination Chamber in the home country, and he loses, and it's like, oh God, he's a huge heel.
Yeah.
Like, you had the perfect heel and the perfect babyface colliding at WrestleMania because you had the groundswell of support for Cody. And then you had Roman Reigns, who had killed your hero, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
And Cody was basically the last. He's like, I'm going to be the guy to put the end to this evil.
And it's like, you were halfway there. You were halfway there.
You almost finished the story, man. We almost
with the tag titles.
We almost cashed out. That the ending should have been Cody, Kevin, and Sami embracing in the ring.
Yeah.
But
and everything about that match, because we have to preface this, the match was phenomenal.
Was great. Yeah.
Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes had
But
an incredible
That's
match.
the thing, when you have an ending like that, people don't give a shit about
Yeah.
because all people are going to be talking about is what
It's how
happened.
you leave them.
It's the
It's
ending.
how you leave them.
Mhm.
And yeah, the match was phenomenal about first getting rid of Solo, then the ref bump, and the Usos come down, but Sami Zayn and Owens are right there to get rid of the Usos. And it was like, okay, the bloodline is being stripped away. There's nothing.
Right when you have him, you're like, oh, no, he's just going to come back out.
Yeah, Solo is just coming right back.
Like, no, they didn't kick him out of the building.
No.
He just put a hoodie on and he's back.
Right. And
He's
it's like, oh, God, guys,
like,
not
even a new member of the bloodline to at least give us something. It was like, no, it's just Solo again.
Yeah.
It's just Solo again. He's back.
Like, oh,
Because the thing is that now, when the match happens, whenever it happens, Cody versus Roman, it's gonna be sort of like, remember when Roman took on Jay the first time for the title, where it was like, okay, this is an interesting match. I like the story. This is great. Roman's not gonna lose though, and I feel like it's gonna be the same thing whenever this match happens. Where it doesn't matter what storyline you put in front of it. It's gonna be like, yeah, this is just to end the feud. Cody's gonna win. Yeah, Cody's gonna win just to end the feud. You know what? They've been building to it. Yeah, it's gonna be like that. It's gonna just take, like, the moment's gone. You know, here was like a 50-50 chance. Like, oh, what's gonna happen? But the next time they meet, it's gonna be like, Cody's gonna win.
And the thing is, I didn't care about the Raw after WrestleMania.
No.
I didn't care. I didn't care to go and watch. I didn't care to tune in. I didn't care about the Friday. Roman Reigns is already gone. Your champion is already gone. He's not going to be at Backlash, to my knowledge. At least not yet. And I don't think he will be.
It's tricky because I think one of the Usos has a criminal record. So I don't know how that plays a part in getting him to Puerto Rico. So I'm not sure if any of the bloodline members are going to be, maybe Solo. Maybe they do Solo and Roman tagging against someone, but it's going to be weird. Like, the second that you know, Cody comes out and he's like, "Oh, let's do a tag match." I was like, this is they shit the bed on this one.
And the Brock Lesnar heel turn, and it's just, and Roman didn't do anything on Raw at all. It was like, he was just there.
He did his entrance.
Yeah,
that's it.
like, it was just and it's like,
and then for Cody to come out and him, I mean, like, there's nothing else he could do but just him coming out and being like, "Yeah, I lost. Let's do a tag match." I was like, "Oh, this hurts." I was watching it and I was like, "Oh, I feel for him." And
it's like,
I feel for him, man.
And it's like, he's still over. The fans are still into him, but it's a.
But you could.
Something has gone wrong.
Cody's one of those guys where he wears his emotions on his sleeves. So to see him come out and do the tag match, then the next night on Raw, him coming out and being like, "Oh, Backlash, it's me and Brock," and just seeing his face being like, "Yeah, me and Brock at Backlash." It's like, you don't want this, bud.
No. But bless him, he's gonna try. But overall, WrestleMania, night number 1 far superior to night number 2. Night number 2 had its moments. The triple threat really was the saving grace of that show. It's probably the only thing that I would ever go back and watch from night number 2. But I would genuinely sit down and watch all of night number 1 again one day.
Great. Yeah, night 1 was
I honestly would. And that's the good shit. And I've heard about just wait and see how it plays out, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to wait and see how it plays out because I've already been disappointed. And you had 3, 4, 5 months of perfect build, and you had my attention, and now you do not, because I'm not interested. And he's had it for over 3 years now, and I can now peel back the layers and look back and be like, okay, you're just keeping it on him to break records.
Yeah.
That's all
I think
that it's
they want
for.
to hit the 1,000
Yeah.
1,000 mark.
And if all you're doing it for is to break records and you don't have a good enough storyline other than that, and if you still want to keep doing the bloodline, even though it's past its sell-by date, and all you've injected into it is Matt Riddle, who apparently just lost on SmackDown.
He lost the
so
solo.
I mean, fucking hell, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's getting into nonsense shit.
Yeah, if we keep going,
there's just more layers to peel back and just hate on. WrestleMania was good.
Yeah.
Leave it at that.
Triple H's first Mania, if you
No.
believe the reports, his first Mania.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was good. And so far I'm liking the direction, even though the main event was fucked up, and it fucked up kind of like what they're doing. This is back-to-back solid Manias.
Yes.
So I'm happy for that, because we've had to deal with some Manias, some tough Manias over the years.
We have, yes.
So the fact that we got 2 back-to-back really good Manias,
yes,
that says a lot for where we're going.
It does indeed. It does indeed. But now, just Sean, we must discuss the punishment, because there was an issue. And that issue was
Let's go.
is that based on the matches, I had beaten you by Edge and Finn Balor.
Yeah.
I had beaten you by that point.
Yeah.
Because of the bonus point with Brock Lesnar under 5.
Yeah.
I had beaten you by then. And had Finn Balor won, then it literally would have been down to the main event.
Yeah.
However, the overlook was that I had gotten 8, and you had gotten 7 by the end.
Yeah.
Apart from one bonus point.
Which one?
You had declared that only 2 titles would change hands.
Oh, shit.
Whereas I had foolishly thought that 5 titles would change hands. And in fact, only 2 titles did change hands, being the tag team and the SmackDown women's title.
Oh, yeah. Holy shit.
Which resulted in an 8-8 tie.
Shit. Okay.
So,
how do we handle this then?
How we handle this now is with the fans.
Okay.
We are going to put up polls.
Okay.
We're going to put up polls on Spotify, which you can now do. We're going to put up polls on Twitter. We're going to put up polls on our collective Instagram.
Okay.
You will choose one punishment pay-per-view, which I hope you have decided.
Yeah, I have one.
And I will choose one punishment pay-per-view.
Okay.
And that would be the next pay-per-view that we will review.
Okay.
Before we move on.
All right, I'm down for that.
The fans, our gentle listeners, will decide, and whoever gets the most votes, that is the punishment in which will be reviewed. You can choose between my pick, WrestleMania 9.
Okay.
In which, in case you think you're getting out of anything, you personally review The Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez.
Oh my god. Okay.
You personally review Razor Ramon versus Bob Backlund.
Oh shit.
And you also personally review Money Inc. versus the Hulkamaniacs, Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake, for the tag titles.
Fucking hell.
Just in case you think you can just be like, oh, I didn't watch that match.
Oh, shit. Okay.
You must personally review those if we choose WrestleMania 9.
Okay.
Or
if
the gentle listeners can review which one?
If we go with my pick, since we're in WCW, I'm gonna stick in WCW.
Okay.
And this is a punishment slash a pay-per-view that I've been curious about for years, that I've been wanting to review for years.
Oh dear.
And we're reviewing WCW in North Korea.
Oh God.
Yes, with the main event being Antonio Inoki versus Ric Flair. Yes, I've watched that main event a bunch of times, but I want to review the whole thing, the whole shebang, baby.
Fuck. Oh shit. Okay.
So it's between WrestleMania 9 and one that would probably get us bombed if we talk too bad about it. So
okay. Well,
yeah.
All
so
right.
On Twitter, Instagram,
yes,
Spotify polls,
yes,
it's up to you guys.
Yes, and the collective will choose.
Yes,
and that is what we will abide by, and that would be the next review. My God.
But for now,
yes, we must get back in the DeLorean for one final time to go to 1997.
We fucking did it, buddy.
And for the first time ever, we're watching one full year of wrestling. We started, we ended. It's time for Halloween Havoc 1997.
Tonight, the world of wrestling will change forever.
This will be the first time in history.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
You lay the ground rules out. You got the cage hanging over our heads.
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Hogan, you're cornered. So what you gonna do?
I'm gonna put him out to pasture with the rest of the fossils. The time is here.
Who in the hell do you think you are, Piper? I'm the boss.
He's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I will chew up Hulk Hogan from head to toe.
And I'm the man that is the only God in this ring. Slim Jim presents WCW's Halloween Havoc.
Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc 1997, brought to you by Slim Jims, presented by Slim Jims.
In association
with Slim Jims. Presented by Slim Jims. This is from October 26th, 1997 at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yep.
Yes. It's fun. It's fun for me to now do the numbers.
Why is it fun?
Because I'm actually looking at a show that I reviewed numbers for last year.
Oh shit, that's true.
So it's
that's
like
true.
I'm getting a direct comparison, starting with the pay-per-view buys. 305,000 buys by October 1997, whereas in October 1996, 175,000 pay-per-view buys. So the company is doing tremendous business at this point with the pay-per-view buys. The attendance in the same arena now draws 12,457, sold out as they are. Compared to the approximate 10,000 that was in the building last year. The gate for the program, $297,508 in comparison to the $224,660.
Yep.
My goodness. So all around, WCW has done tremendous this last year. Even with the ups and downs that we've taken a look at for each pay-per-view, honestly, they are still drawing great for October heading in to Starrcade.
Yep.
Because it is now time for the final Monday Night War Would You Rather.
Oh yeah, let's fucking do it.
Yeah, the final one.
Let's fucking do it.
September the 15th, Nitro draws a 3.81, in which the newly NWO membered Kurt Hennig takes on Mongo McMichael for the United States Championship. Whereas Raw draws a 2.54, where the Hart Foundation's Bret Hart and Davey Boy Smith take on the Headbangers. Kurt Hennig would win the U.S. title from Mongo McMichael. What would you rather?
I'll go WCW.
And WCW gets the first point. You'll start to notice a pattern as we get through the weeks here,
Oh my god.
because they are pushing somebody hard.
Okay, let's see.
September the 22nd, Nitro pulls in a 3.69. Couple of things here, just a little side note tidbit. Disco wins the TV title here,
Okay.
as well as Goldberg debuts on this night, September the 22nd.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Goldberg later
Absolutely.
on. Yeah.
And the main event is Kurt Hennig taking on Jeff Jarrett, whereas Raw pulls in a 2.33 as Bret Hart takes on Goldust. Kurt Hennig would pick up another win.
Fucking hell, though. Both of those sound awful. Both of those sound. I'll go WWE.
You're going with
Yeah.
Raw for this one.
Yeah,
Ah.
Bret Hart and the weirdness of Goldust. That should be sort of entertaining. That should be sort of entertaining.
All right. I will. So that's 1-1.
1-1, yeah.
Yeah, that's 1-1 for the final. Let's see who pulls out on top. September.
Wait, this
29th.
is the final week before Halloween?
No.
Okay,
This is
okay.
the final.
Okay,
Would
okay,
you
okay.
rather? So I'm very interested here. September the 29th, Nitro pulls in a massive 4.03 as the Giant takes on Kurt Hennig. Are you seeing a pattern here?
I'm trying to push this giant guy.
Yeah. Whereas Raw scores a 2.74, in which The Undertaker takes on Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Wait, but sorry.
Yes.
Was there something going on? Why 4 point? Like, what was going on that week?
I think it's just momentum.
Oh,
I
shit.
think it's just momentum. At this
Okay.
point, Hollywood Hogan
I thought-
and Roddy Piper will be getting ready for their clash for the cage match.
Okay. I thought some special occasion was
No.
going on.
Diamond Dallas Page and Macho Man are about to have an end to their trilogy of matches as
Okay.
well. So, yeah, could just be a run of good luck
Okay.
for them. So the Giant would beat Kurt Hennig on this night, but of course via DQ. What would you rather?
I'll go Taker Hunter. I'll go Taker
2-1.
Hunter. Yeah.
2-1.
Yeah.
The Attitude Era is starting to.
No, you can see.
Inch ahead.
You could see it start taking form. You can
yes.
see it start taking form.
October the 6th, we are in a new month.
Okay.
Nitro draws a 3.91 rating where
They're on fire.
Kurt Hennig takes on Chris Benoit. Whereas Raw draws a 3.0 flat as Bret the Hitman Hart takes on Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Kurt Hennig would win via shenanigans.
I'll go the E again.
That's
again.
3-1.
Yeah. Because the Giant versus Kurt, I don't want to see that.
Well, this is Hennig and Benoit.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying just
fair.
from
the
all
last
four.
week,
Yes. It's just they don't seem entertaining. Yeah, they just don't
Okay.
seem like I would have a fun time.
Interesting. Well, let's see if this one tickles your balls.
Oh,
October the 13th, Nitro draws a 3.77, in which Diamond Dallas Page takes on Kurt Hennig.
shut the fuck up. 5 main event spots? What the hell? Oh, shit.
Kurt Hennig is being pushed as the real deal. Whereas Raw draws a pretty abysmal for this time of year, a 2.26.
Damn.
And maybe this is the reason why, because the Legion of Doom goes against the Godwins.
The Legion of Wait, wasn't what this is what 97?
97. Hawk and Animal are back in the Federation,
Fuck.
and they are in the main event with the Godwins.
All right, so I guess I'm forced to take Kurt and DDP.
Good. Would you like to know how it ends?
DQ. I know.
Kurt Hennig wins via DQ.
Jesus.
And finally,
They can't help themselves. They just can't help themselves.
the Go Home Nitro, October 20th. Now, there were 2 sets of angles that closed the show.
Okay.
So I went and I found the matches that that precursored
Okay.
or predated the main event angle.
Okay.
So I will give you the main event angle and of both shows, and then you can pair them up together. See
Okay.
which one you would like.
Okay.
We have a in-ring segment in which Hollywood Hogan and Randy Savage are calling out Roddy Piper and Diamond Dallas Page because throughout the night, Diamond Dallas Page and Roddy Piper were beating up the NWO, beating the shit out of them hither and yon.
Okay.
Yes. Along with Sting making a propel down the rafters into the ring while the cage was lowered.
Okay, yeah, I remember. Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And the main event of that show was Scott Hall taking on Scott Steiner, in which Scott Hall wins when a masked referee comes in to count the pin. They draw a 4.54.
What?
A gigantic rating. Meanwhile, Raw comes back from that 2.26 with a 2.96 rating, where Kane and Mankind, this is a brand new debuted Kane, and Mankind have an angle. But the main event, or the precursor, the DOA, the Disciples of Apocalypse, take on the Godwins in a no contest.
What is this Godwin agenda that they're trying to push?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go WCW.
My
WCW.
goodness.
Yeah.
So in the end,
What,
they
3-3?
tied.
Yeah, 3-3. Shit.
My goodness.
3-3.
Wow. So, yes, the Go Home show, as I previously said, the WCW attacks the NWO, specifically Roddy Piper and Diamond Dallas Page. They opened the show with the NWO being laid out, apart from Hogan and, Randy Savage, because, of course, you're not getting one up on them, brother. They continue to call them out throughout the show, main event, but fake Stings start showing up. And then Roddy Piper and DDP are dressed as fake Stings. The cage lowers to get the jump on Hollywood and Randy Savage. And then, of course, Sting comes down to run them out as the cage lowers. They stand atop the cage. WCW stands tall, heading home.
All right.
Oh, my goodness. And here we are. The show review. I'm over age. I want Piper, and I want him in a cage.
Oh my God. It's age in a cage,
That's
baby.
right. It's a cage match main event. It is Dusty Rhodes, Tony Schiavone, and Bobby Heenan back together for our final review. Oh, and Dusty Rhodes, has got some gems tonight.
Oh, yeah. No, tonight I don't know what they gave him before the show, but he was on one tonight.
Oh, baby. And Mike Tenay joins us for the opening match, which is Yuji Nagata taking on Ultimo Dragon. Yuji Nagata, managed by Sonny Bono. The Dragon still is over as hell, even though he's not been seen very much in the last couple of months, certainly on pay-per-view. And, of course, Sonny Bono is still contracting hired assassins to try and kill Ultimo Dragon.
Really doesn't like him.
Now, Yuji Nagata and Ultimo Dragon, they start with a little collar and elbow tie-up into a headlock, but Yuji takes a little cheap shot in order to keep the headlock on. Off the rope, shoulder block, and a leg trip by the Dragon. German suplex by Yuji Nagata to come back. The head balancing act by Ultimo Dragon follows up with the mule kick and some kick combos knocking down Nagata. Then Nagata is able to slow him down with a rear chin lock, but it's a back suplex out by Ultimo Dragon. Very fast paced to start. Yuji is able to slow it down with a mad-looking pile driver.
Yeah.
Follows that up with a suplex. Some snappy-ass kicks knocking down Ultimo Dragon. But the Dragon gets fired up. He says, come on, give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yuji obliges and starts giving him the kicks. But he catches the kick and does the Dragon Screw leg whip. Gets him with a side leg whip. Tries for a plancha, but gets kicked in his gut for his troubles. Here comes the flock.
Yeah, Raven and his flock make their way down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the Asahi moonsault by the Dragon as we cut back. Springboard handstand blocked with a knee by Yuji Nagata. Dragon doesn't stay on the defense for long with a sunset flip powerbomb out of the corner. That's right. A top rope moonsault only gets a 2 count. Yuji Nagata is able to counter the top rope move by smashing the arm off the steel of the turnbuckle. Some wicked kicks to the back of Ultimo Dragon, making the crowd go, ooh, yuck. Yuji is working the arm for a little bit now. He goes for the Nagata lock, which is a standing figure 4, into a reverse version of that. But the Dragon is able to get out of that, locks in a Dragon sleeper, but Nagata is quickly out of there. The enziguri by the Dragon, fighting from the ground here. A twisting Hurricane Rana from the top rope by the Dragon once they get up there. But the bad arm gets trapped. And Yuji Nagata locks in the arm bar to disarm her. And the Dragon taps out very quickly. Yeah. Yuji Nagata wins. And in the post-match, Sonny Bono kicks the arm. Looks like he breaks the arm of Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah, and then he gives Nagata a little bonus money for, taking out his arch enemy. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, that was the opening match. What did you think of this opening match?
Again, fucking really decent match. It was very cool to go back and kind of see a young Yuji Nagata, like in his early days. So that was pretty cool, because I think like every match I've ever watched from him is like his now that he's a bit older. So to see a young him was kind of cool. I kind of would like the feud between Dragon and Sonny Ono to kind of end already. I like the whole hired hitman type of thing, but if you're not going to have like one specific guy, like just because I feel like Dragon, he's so over that he could be doing other things.
He could be, yeah.
But again, WCW in the 90s, the fact that they just put this match on is fine enough.
There you go. We've had a lot of tremendous show openers.
Yes.
I would like for you to think back just a little bit.
Oof.
What would be your favorite one?
Oh, man. See, I wish you would have told me before so I can go back and watch some of these.
For me, it's Dean Malenko and Six. From way back, I believe it was at Uncensored or it was at Super Brawl. The one where Dean Malenko was pissed off for the first time. And he
I remember that one. Yeah.
It's a fantastic opener.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll get back to you on that one. I would have to look back at some of the main events.
Back in the internet area, it breaks my fucking heart to see Disco Inferno as the TV champion. Alex Wright is nowhere to be found. Unfortunately, Disco Inferno is the TV champion. He's not defending his title tonight because he's going against Jacqueline.
Yeah.
In an intergender.
And the beautiful thing about this segment is that they're asking Disco Inferno, like, well, you can't kick her. And you can't punch her.
Yeah.
You can't really touch her.
Yeah.
So how do you plan to win? And Disco's like, I have no clue. So I'm kind of sitting there watching that and being like, then why are we doing this? If the wrestler has no idea, like what are we doing? But, we're going on with it.
We're going to see if he can find a way. A bonus match. Yes. Much like the first match.
This wasn't apparently back in the 90s. This wasn't announced. This kind of was just thrown together at last minute.
They used to do that a lot. Used to do that a lot with
Yeah.
pay-per-views,
Yeah.
especially in the WWF. They used to have a bonus attraction match
Well,
a lot of
this is-
times.
Our bonus one.
That's
Ghetto,
Ghetto,
Ghetto.
and Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Longtime rivals
Yep.
in Japan. This is the match that Chris Jericho refuses to watch. Never has gone back and watched. Never will. And there's a reason for that, which we will get into.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
A slap by Ghetto, very rude, out of the corner to start. Jericho with a spin kick to get out of the arm wringer. Ghetto powers out. He's very much playing a very bad foreign heel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much looking at
You
the
know
crowd.
they can't play anything else.
Yeah. He's
Come
very
on.
much like, "Ugh." Nice scowls and grimaces. Back in, Chris Jericho with a stalling suplex. A cover only gets a 2 count.
Mhm.
Chris Jericho skins the cat, only to be clotheslined back out by Ghetto. A power slam by Ghetto once they are back into the ring. A sleeper attempt follows up with that. Chris Jericho is able to get out of that and hits a hard-ass clothesline. Follows that up with a double power bomb by Chris, and here it comes. They head up to the top rope,
Oh shit.
and he tries for a super Hurricane Rana.
Yeah.
Ghetto stands up first on the top rope. Chris Jericho is only still on the second rope.
Mhm.
Ghetto is not a small individual. And
No.
that is a very tight space on the top turnbuckle. And I've never seen somebody do that when both of them are standing up on the top rope. I've never seen a Hurricane Rana where both are standing up. Certainly not from that size.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
Rey Mysterio can pull it off.
Like if he has
With,
the
like, a
right.
Dean
Yeah.
Malenko?
Yeah.
But these are two relatively tall men and two relatively big men. They stand on the top rope. Chris Jericho tries to go for the Hurricane Rana, but he starts to fall like immediately
Yeah.
as he stands up there. And whew, he nearly lands on his face and snaps his neck.
Yeah. He ended up breaking his nose, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, he ended up breaking
Yeah.
his nose.
Yeah, thank God he's all right.
And what made that spot even more dangerous is that Ghetto
Yeah,
lands, I think almost lands on
Yeah.
top of his head,
yeah.
which would have been it for Jericho.
Yeah, would have killed him.
Yeah.
Would have killed. If
'Cause the
not
way-
serious paralysis.
The way his neck was bent,
Mm.
if all that weight from Ghetto would have landed on that,
That's it.
yeah,
Game over.
yeah,
Game over.
yeah,
Thank God nothing bad happened. Chris Jericho was able to catch a drop kick from a springboard move to the outside, so they keep on going. Looks like a super knee breaker from Ghetto from the shoulders. But Jericho is able to catch Ghetto once he gets from the top rope into a lineman tamer, gets a quick tap out win. So thank God that match is over. Thank God everybody's all right.
yeah, yeah.
But Lord, that was scary, and I couldn't think about anything else after that. It's
Yeah,
like,
that was
Jesus Murphy.
that was a scary one just because it's like the what if factor, because it could have got way worse.
Yeah.
But again, Jericho's a trooper, so he was able to finish the match.
Yes.
It was a decent match.
It was fine. It was
all
perfectly
right.
fine.
Yeah, it
match,
was all
but
right.
Good Lord, that
Yeah.
move off the top rope.
Especially in the 90s, if you're not expecting this and you get this as a bonus,
Yeah.
this
it's
was
a
all
happy
right.
little bonus.
Yeah, it was all right.
But now it is time for the meme! By God! Gene! Who's backstage? That's the last time I get to do this.
Yeah, that's well,
For now.
maybe
For now.
for now.
For now, there's
For
no
now.
mean by God Gene.
For now.
With Debbie. Deborah McMichael in the back.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
she's being interviewed by Mean Gene. Mean Gene's like, who's going to be your mystery man? You know, because Jeff Jarrett is gone.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett jumped ship.
Up and left. He's out
Got
of here.
The fuck out of there.
During the middle of the fucking story.
I love Jeff Jarrett.
How long he was on TV. How obnoxious this motherfucker was on television.
Even when we were doing the comparisons, he was in a main event
Yeah.
like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I love Jeff Jarrett to death. He's
And
so
he's
random.
gone.
He's so fucking random.
So Deborah says, no, I'm not going to tell you my mystery partner. I'm not going to tell you my mystery person. All right, I'm going to save that until he gets out there. Okay?
Sure.
And then Steve Mongo is like, I'm going to tell you something, honey. I want my ring back. I want those checks and those credit cards.
Oh, my God.
And Deborah's like, no, I earned those credit cards, all right, from being with you and putting up with all your nonsense.
Can't you just cancel the credit card?
He could. He really could. But that's his wife. That's his wife. What a shit promo that was. Just a shit backstage segment.
This is another one of those segments that just has to end.
Jesus Christ.
Like, they don't need to keep doing this shit.
Oh, but look at this. We're going to have a little bit of breath of fresh air as we go towards Mask versus Title. It is Eddie Guerrero taking on Rey Mysterio Jr.
In the interest of sharing the load!
Every week I think you're going to forget that shit.
No, sir.
So, with the privilege of getting to call this next match, I turn it over to Just John, my Mexican correspondent.
Yeah, let's do this, man. Title versus Mask. Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio Jr. The crowd immediately starts a loud Eddie sucks chant.
Yes.
Eddie talks shit to Rey for a little bit.
Yeah.
He takes a wild swing at Rey that misses. Rey goes for quebrada, I think.
The quebrada.
You know, Mike Tenay said
Yeah.
quebrada.
Like that right there.
But gets caught, so he turns it into an arm drag because Rey's Rey, and he's amazing. They start hitting high fly moves all over the place. Eddie ends up on the floor. Rey looks to fly, but tries a fake and lands on the apron.
Yeah.
So Eddie just pulls him off by the legs and tosses him into the stairs. Eddie hits a slingshot senton back in the ring, and the crowd is pissed. Rey back with a perfectly placed drop kick.
Yes.
But he tries a handspring and gets caught with a belly to back suplex.
Belly to back.
At this point in the match, Tenay tells us that Rey's 8-0 in matches where his mask is on the line.
Yes.
Despite that, Eddie hits a tilt-the-world backbreaker that gets a 2 count.
He heard Mike Tenay.
Yeah. He was like,
hold my beer.
He hooks the domino stretch and starts to tear at the mask of Rey.
Yes, which is connected to his outfit, of course. That famous purple outfit.
Yeah, the Phantom, I think the Phantom outfit.
Phantom
yeah.
Mysterio.
He lifts Rey up and drops him back first, and Rey fights off his back and gets to his feet. Springs to the ropes and backflips into a DDT.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
If that is not one of the most beautiful moves that I have ever seen in my entire life, the amount of choreography and coordination that requires is out of this world.
And the beauty about that move is that, like, even though it was such an incredible move, it was so amazing that the crowd, it took them like a minute.
Yeah.
Like, it took them, like, it happened, and then the crowd's kind of, like, silent for a little bit. Then they're like, oh, wait.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Once they, like, it processed through their minds what happened, they were like, oh, this was ridiculous.
Legitimately, like, one of the first times that you've ever seen an innovative move stun the crowd.
Yeah.
It's like, my lord. One of the beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yeah, dropkick sends Eddie to the floor, but Eddie is one step ahead as he rushes back into the ring and dropkicks Rey off the apron. He heads back out and sends Rey into the security rail. Back in the ring, Eddie goes for the camel clutch and tears at the mask again.
I love that because he gets him in the clutch and he's just like, yeah! And then he starts pulling at the mask. He's so angry.
Heel Eddie is the best version of Eddie.
So good. And then Bobby Heenan is like, let's get a look at that mush.
Eddie releases and gets a gory special on Ray. Ray turns it into an arm drag, but Eddie's right back on him with a basement drop kick to the neck. He drops Ray with a shoulder breaker, and hooks a modified bow and arrow on the mat. They battle in the corner as Ray fires back with right hands and chops. Eddie cuts him off again and tosses him into the Tree of Woe. Eddie with a drop kick, but Ray lifts himself up and Eddie slides balls first into the ring post, which is the ring post. The ring post today in this pay-per-view has so much padding.
It does, yes,
because of
it's
this,
Slim Jim.
Yeah, the Slim Jim.
It's Slim Jim's post, which they call the Slim Jim ring post.
Oh my god,
which is absurd to me.
It has so much padding. I don't think Eddie felt anything at that
because it's
point.
like a box.
Yeah,
it's a box around the post.
And in every match, someone goes into that post, and I couldn't help but be like, he didn't feel shit.
No,
there's no way he felt anything like that. Post looks so cushiony. Ray off the top over the post onto Eddie, which was fucking insane. He fires him back inside where Eddie tries another tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, but Ray lands on his feet and snaps off a Hurricanrana for a 2 count. Ray gets sort of a 619. It wasn't. I'm not sure if he was calling it the 619 at that time. But it's the precursor to the 619.
Yeah, it's the prototype.
Yeah. But Eddie grabs him, but he still turns that into a head scissors that sends Eddie to the floor. Ray somersaults over the top onto Eddie, and turns that into a Hurricanrana.
Yes. Yeah.
Jesus.
Again.
Off the top rope. I thought he was going for a senton.
No.
Lands on Eddie. Hurricanrana.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
How incredible is Rey Mysterio? Like, my God.
Listen.
My God. And the fact that they didn't push him after this. I know that he was so small. And I get that, like, okay, like, world title, no. But U.S. title, television title, like, he was only cruiserweight bound.
You have Kurt Hennig and Steve McMichaels fucking fighting for the title. You can have fucking Ray on that, man.
My goodness, man.
Back in the ring, Ray gets a corkscrew moonsault, followed by a slam, and tries a split-legged moonsault, but Eddie blocks with his knees. Eddie powerbombs Ray in one of the most vicious, like,
so dirty,
just trying to knock the wind out of fucking Ray.
And then stacks him up.
Yeah.
Still only gets a 2 count.
Eddie Sucks chants just ringing throughout the fucking building.
Yeah. Because he just tried to kill man. He just tried to kill poor little Ray.
Eddie charges and gets a alley-oop into the turnbuckle. Spin wheel kick from Ray, and he sets for the springboard Rana, but Eddie catches him on the way down with a backbreaker. And honestly, it almost tiny botch, but Eddie being a fucking just a great was able to catch Ray last minute and hit the backbreaker.
Yep.
Frog splash, but misses. Eddie sets Ray up top. He gets an elbow and looks for a top rope razor's edge, but Ray turns it into a Rana on the way down and hooks the leg for the pin and the victory. After the match, Eddie throws Ray out the ring in anger.
And just still basks in the Eddie Sucks chants.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
One of the fucking greatest cruiserweight matches ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got to believe the hype.
Yeah.
Yes, if you have not seen the match, which would be incredible if you haven't, but if you somehow haven't, you need to go out of your way to watch the match for sure.
Yeah, this is one of those matches that just talking about it doesn't do it. Just like if you have to watch it to really appreciate some of the shit that they were doing.
Absolutely.
Because it's one of those matches that even the crowd at times was just like, what the
Yeah.
fuck, dude?
What am I seeing? What am I seeing?
Yeah.
A crazy good match, very innovative. I love the fact that it's the Never Say Die of Rey Mysterio still on display,
Mhm.
which we have seen throughout the entire year of our podcast review.
Yep.
Rey Mysterio has always been in that position where they go 15, nearly 20 minutes, and Rey Mysterio just will not die.
Yeah.
And it's either he's going to win or something terrible has to happen to him to put him down. And my God.
Especially in this match.
Mhm.
Because in this match, Eddie's whole game plan was like, I'm just going to break you in half.
Yes.
I'm just going to hurt you real bad.
Yeah.
And Ray just wouldn't stay down. So
Wouldn't
that was very cool.
For the pride of the mask. That's what it was all about.
Listen, man. In Mexican culture, there's nothing more important than your mask.
Mm-hmm.
So just to see these two guys give that match the respect it deserves, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Backstage with the New World Order, Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff. They wait for their cue, very obviously, for a few seconds,
Yep.
and then cut a very long and boring promo where the gist is that they're backing out of the match. If they see Sting, they have to guarantee that there will be no Sting for the match between Hogan and Piper. If not, we're getting out of here, and the match is not happening. I don't understand what the point of this fake out is for, but nevertheless, there it is. Hollywood Hogan is refusing to do battle. Well,
It's time for the real main event, buddy.
yeah, you're going to continue to share the load because we're going to talk about it. So Steve Mongo McMichael, who was supposed to be facing Jeff Jarrett here,
Yes.
but Jeff Jarrett, as we know, has left, has up and left. This is twice now, because in the WWF, he left in 1995, 1996, during the middle of another feud in which the roadie, aka the Road Dogg, you know the song, I Can't Wait to Be Alone with My Baby Tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Road Dogg is the person that sang that song,
Okay.
but it was Jeff Jarrett that did the lip sync over it and did the music video and passed it off as him singing this song. So what was going to happen was that it was going to come out that Jesse James was the one that had sung the song.
Yeah, made the song, yeah.
And he would become Double J, Jesse James. And they would feud over that.
But then he just didn't.
Jeff Jarrett was like, no. I'm going to up and leave.
A great man, yeah.
That's right. So the Road Dogg did in fact turn into Double J as a spite move against Jeff Jarrett. So yeah, there you go. And now he gets into the Four Horsemen storyline. And remember, this Four Horsemen storyline has been going back for a year.
A year, yeah. Because when we started, there was a thing. Yeah.
It was him and the Giant, and Ric Flair was just starting to endorse the man.
Yeah.
So a year-long build, but because he was not going to get the match with Ric Flair, or at least not in the top marquee position that he felt the storyline was coming to,
he left.
He up and left again.
I love Jeff Jarrett.
That's right. So, who are we replacing Jeff Jarrett with? Who is it, John?
Yes, so tonight it's Steve McMichaels versus...
Oh, hang on. Yeah. Let the audience figure it out for themselves.
They know who it is,
Who is it?
The Dancing Machine.
Yeah! Just when I thought I'd never see him again. Just when I thought
right, baby.
at my last time that I would ever be able to review a podcast for WCW in this time period, Alex Wright brings it home.
Alex Wright continuing his streak of every time he loses something, gaining something.
Gains another spot.
He lost the Cruiserweight title,
Yep.
gained the TV title, lost TV title, gained Deborah.
Yeah. Standard progression.
Some would say an upgrade.
Yeah, some would.
All right, so Wright works the arm, but Mongo reverses and gets a slam for two. Wright bails to the floor as the announcers are only concerned with talking about Hogan.
Yep.
The entire match, all they talk about is Hogan. Is he gonna show up? Why is he doing all these things? It's all about Hogan.
Yeah.
Wright goes back to the arm and stomps Mongo down. That goes on for a bit. Mongo reverses and drops an elbow. He drops some knees on the arm, but gets caught with a shot to the ribs. European uppercut from Wright to regain control.
Yeah.
Side headlocks from Alex. Mongo shoves off and collides in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, we have to say that Mongo has not improved even once this entire year. He's been in co-main events, pulling or trying to pull footballers to decent matches. He gets in the ring with the standard bearer of the mid-card match, Alex Wright, and he sells like shit.
For a second, for like a slight second, I thought a compliment was coming. I was like, oh shit, is it happening? Are we getting a KJ Mongo compliment?
The one time that it happened at the Fall Brawl, that was it.
That's all he got.
That's all he's got. That's all he's gonna get, because he hasn't improved not one bit during this season.
All right. Another going right gets a shoulder block and lays in more kicks. Another side headlock, and Mongo escapes and gets a hip toss. Scoop slam from Mongo. I think he hits 2 scoop slams. Mongo gets caught with a boot in the corner. Wright hits a heel kick. They botch something, so Mongo just hits a knee. I don't know what they were going for, but it was clearly botched. And Mongo was like, "Fuck it, knee."
Yeah.
Deborah. Okay, here's where this match just goes to shit.
Here's where the shit hits the fan.
Deborah distracts the ref.
Yes.
And as she's distracting the ref, Goldberg, a young Goldberg, comes in, jumps the ropes, and spears Mongo and hits him with a jackknife.
Jackhammer. Yeah.
Jackhammer.
Yeah.
While the ref has to pretend
Poorly.
Like he's busy with Deborah.
Yeah.
And the giant Goldberg, he doesn't like sneak into the ring. He jumps over the third rope, like beside the ref, like not even behind, like beside the ref. Spears the shit out of Mongo,
whose head smacks off the rope and Charles Robinson's knee.
And he's still like, Deborah, you gotta. Yeah. He picks Mongo. Mongo isn't a cruiserweight. He picks Mongo up and just slams him to the point where people are bouncing off the ring.
And Charles is like looking behind him to see when it's over, because I'm assuming it was just supposed to be the spear. Alex gets dropped on, get out of there. But no, Goldberg needs to get his shit in, brother.
He hits the jackhammer. Everyone's bouncing up. Yeah. Charles is still like, hey, Deborah.
Yeah. Because Deborah's done distracting at this moment.
Deborah has gone. Like, she's standing there
like
now.
He's just yelling at her at this point. He's like, you better no shenanigans. Then he gets up from the jackhammer, walks toward Alex Wright, picks up Alex Wright, walks towards Mongo, drops Alex Wright on Mongo, then slowly walks out the ring.
Yeah, past the ref.
And then the ref has to be like, whoa, what was... Okay, that was weird. Oh, anyways, let me get on with the pin. One of the worst ref distractions I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
And Wright gets the pin, but...
Alex wins!
What the fuck?
Alex wins!
What the fact that you're supposed to pretend you don't hear a spear is crazy to me.
And then Goldberg is gifted with the Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
He is the mercenary for Deborah. And there you have it.
Yeah. Alex tries to be like, hey, we're on the same page, right? And gets murdered.
Absolutely. Yes.
Gets a jackhammer for his troubles. And that's how that went.
And there you go. An abysmal match. Just an abysmal showing. But yeah, that would, believe it or not, lead to Goldberg versus Steve McMichael at Starrcade
Jesus.
97. Unreal.
But that's the end of the shit, right?
Oh, yeah,
Right?
you would think so.
Oh,
Backstage, another promo, Macho Man, who is hyping the match, but he's more so hyping Slim Jims.
It's like I'm gonna celebrate by opening up a 6-pack of Slim Jims. Oh yeah.
Eating a 6-pack of Slim Jims can't be healthy.
It's gotta be bad for the belly.
Can't be healthy, man.
I don't see Macho Man doing Slim Jims.
Yo.
I don't see it. But yeah, he's getting paid, $250,000, I believe,
Fuck.
for this Slim Jim advert. Slim Jim is probably paying
I'll probably
WCW a huge amount of money.
I'll probably eat a 6-pack of Slim Jim if they were offering me $1 million.
So there you go. But yeah, he's gonna beat down Diamond Dallas Page.
He's gonna murder the bum.
Bump. Yep.
And then he's gonna celebrate with some Slim Jims. He asks Elizabeth, "What do you think about Diamond Dallas Page?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then Miss Elizabeth, who is speaking for the first time in 8 months,
Holy shit. That's true.
she says, he shouldn't even be in the same area code as you.
From
Shouldn't-
Halloween Havoc 96 till now.
Yeah, she's
We've heard
spoken maybe once.
Maybe once.
She's only materialized a few times. But there you go. And then it's on to match number 5, which is Disco Inferno versus Jack Colleen. So, a little backstory for you.
Okay.
Disco Inferno was actually let go from WCW because he was asked to lose to Jacqueline.
Okay.
He refused to do so. He didn't want to do that. He felt that it would hurt his career. It would hurt his character. It would hurt his push, yada, yada, yada.
Fair.
So he was let go. They convinced him to come back. They said, Disco, come on back, baby. All right, we can't let it end like this. You're a good character. All right, we need to put you out there. The Disco Fever. All right, and then he comes back. He's like, okay, we're going to come back, sign a new contract. And once they sign the contract, they're like, we've got you, you son of a bitch. You're going to fight Jacqueline. So they were finally able to convince Disco Inferno to go ahead and fight Jacqueline here, and so here we have the match: Disco Inferno versus Jacqueline.
How did this company fail?
I don't know.
Jesus.
Disco starts by backing up towards the ropes. He's running away and such. He's still running, and we are 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
Finally, we get some wrestling action after 4 minutes. All that happens is a sunset flip and a drop toe hold. Jacqueline almost loses her top right there. She has to adjust her bosom. The arm drag by Disco Inferno after that, after some more powdering and after running around and running around and running around. Literally, they just go around running around the ring like 5 or 6 times.
Yep.
Then a kick to the gut after a lot of chasing, a beat down by Jacqueline, and Disco bails out once again. A hip toss. Jackie lands on her feet and continues the attack. And it is here that I start to notice the happy feet of Jacqueline. Like, she's literally, like, she's bouncing around the ring, and she's like...
And you see that a lot with
Jesus.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
Like, fucking hell.
You see that a lot with Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Does that a lot. There's a lot of people that do that shit.
A lot of ladies
annoying
doing the
as fuck.
happy feet,
Yeah,
doing the happy feet.
Listen.
So, yeah, it's like, because the first thing that one of the first things that you're taught in wrestling training is to plant your feet.
Yeah.
Every time you're going across the ring, you plant your foot so that you look like you know what you're doing, and then you have the balance in order to go into the next sequence.
Yeah.
When you're just happy feet... When you're just happy feeting around like an idiot, you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, cock to the steel post. And then a suplex on the floor by Jacqueline. And then a float over DDT by Jacqueline, which lights up the crowd and lights up Dusty Rhodes. It's like, my God, should drop in with a DDT. Good Lord.
Anytime Dusty sees a woman do any wrestling move, he's like, "What the fuck?"
Absolutely, yeah. And it's funny just how much on commentary they have to put over Jacqueline is a tough lady. She's a tough lady. I know that she can fight, but can she wrestle? Like, that's the same thing,
Yeah.
Dusty. That's the same thing. Here we go. So a flying crossbody off the top rope by Jacqueline. Disco is able to flip that over, but only gets into a 2 count. Jacqueline, after a few seconds, rolls up Disco Inferno to win.
I'm gonna start a petition to stop wrestlers from having podcasts. Because if you hear Disco Inferno speak about wrestling in general,
Yes.
you would think this man was in there with Prime Hogan every night.
Yeah. He was tearing down the house.
Yeah.
According to Disco.
And all he's been doing, all he does is these comedy fucking angles.
Yeah.
Same thing with Bully Ray. Like, you hear these guys and you're like, yo, they must have fucking went toe to toe with the Undertaker or some shit. And it's just, they just do shit like that. So it was, once I saw Disco Inferno on the card, I'm like, you know what? It's finally chances to see what this guy's all about. And then you telling me this story with the contract, seeing this Jacqueline match, I'm like, nah, he shouldn't be allowed to speak.
No,
he
really
should not be allowed to speak.
Yeah. But there you go.
This was terrible.
Everybody can get themselves a podcast if they try.
This was the worst shit I've ever fucking done. Most of the match was nothing. 90% of the match was nothing.
Yeah.
And we got an arm drag and a crossbody.
Yeah. This, to me, was the equivalent of the Lenny Poffo Brutus Beefcake match. The exact same shit. Absolutely.
This was a disaster.
Terrible.
This was a disaster.
But I will give the edge to the Poffo Beefcake match because at least there wasn't any happy feet.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Really disappointed with that.
Very disappointed. It's so distracting.
For a whole year, WCW kept up their run of having terrible matches dead in the middle of their pay-per-views.
Yeah, without fail.
Holy shit.
Without fail.
Literally right in the middle, right before the co-main and the main start. It's like, here's the worst match you're probably ever gonna see. And then they're like, all right, now let's get back to our regular.
Yeah. And it's like they brought in Jacqueline. But they
and
retired Medusa.
And then after this, I think they fired Jacqueline.
Yeah.
So
like,
this match just didn't mean shit.
But retire Medusa. Akira Hokuto is gone.
Yeah.
It's like, God.
Instead of Disco Inferno versus Jacqueline, could have done Medusa versus Jacqueline.
Yes. Akira Hokuto.
Anybody.
Could have taught you a couple of things about your fucking footwork.
Anybody.
You don't see Akira Hokuto with the happy feet, do you?
Like, anyone could have been in there, and you could have had a decent women's match. Instead, we got Disco Inferno running around the ring for 3 fucking minutes.
Yeah, because apparently you can't hit a woman.
But they made this match regardless.
Little did we know 6 months later, the Attitude Era would be in full swing, and Sable is powerbombing fucking Mark Marrow. And whooping ass. Match number 6. It is the most pushed man in WCW at the moment. Kurt Hennig.
5 main events.
5 main events.
5 main events. Let's see how he does.
And he won a majority versus the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Yes.
Indeed. For some reason, Kurt Hennig is coming out with the Cruiserweight title instead of the United States title, being very poorly disguised.
and walking out with Flair's robe.
Cut off at the shoulders.
Yeah.
And poorly hemmed. It was just nipped off at the shoulders. It's like somebody went at it with a knife and fork.
that feels like a last minute decision.
No kidding.
They saw the role. They're like, "Fuck it, let's just cut the sleeves
I
off."
want to show my biceps.
Yeah, and Shivani is going on a crazy rant. Like he was really pissed that he went out with the role. Like, God damn,
Hear
Shivani.
this man, this piece of shit man. Fuck this piece of shit man. Honestly. But yeah, Ric Flair storms the ring. He gets to whipping. All right, he's whipping on Kurt. Off the apron to the railing. There's outside brawling to begin. Rick takes Henning's leg to the post. Tries for a chair shot, but misses.
And again, those attacks in the post just seem so goofy with that Slim Jim.
They're useless there. Back of the ring, it's chops and shots, baby. Woo! Ric Flair recovers his robe. He puts it on. It doesn't look the same without the shoulders. But he's walking around. He's doing a little strutting in his woo. But then Kurt manages to get Ric Flair down, and Kurt with the classic neck snap.
Yeah.
As only Kurt Hennig can do. Somebody ought to bring that back. Nobody has that. Nobody does that in pro wrestling anymore.
Neck snap?
No, not the classic neck snap.
No.
Yeah, they got to bring that back, baby. Got to bring that back. Hennig works the leg and sends it off to the post, the Slim Jim post.
Yeah.
Might we add. At Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc. Kurt Hennig continues to work the leg. Ric Flair tries to fight back, but gets knocked down with a running forearm. Ric Flair is up and over to the outside. Curtis Axel's father follows him out
What?
to attack.
So fucking random.
And Curtis Axel's father snaps his neck on the top rope, then lures him back in. Punches and bunches to the face of Ric Flair. Kurt locks in a sleeper, but Ric Flair is able to get out with a back suplex. What's the matter?
Calling Curtis Axel's father is fucking crazy.
What's going on?
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Oh, man.
Kurt attempts to nail Ric Flair in the head with a chair between the posts, but Rick lights up after that. A catapult to Sean Stasiak's mentor into the post.
What is happening?
Father to one half
Way
of
too hot for this shit.
Father to one half of Rybaxel tries to walk out with the gold.
Why are you doing this? Oh my god.
Back in the ring, a knee lift to Ric Flair. Ric Flair manages to put Kurt Hennig in the Tree of Woe, wraps the belt leather side around his face because they can't show the fact that it's the Cruiserweight belt. And then Ric Flair kicks the belt onto Kurt Hennig's face.
Jesus.
Father to member of the Social Outcasts, Curtis Axel. A DQ finish. Kurt Hennig is then taken away by members of the NWO as Ric Flair continues to wanting to assault and get revenge on Father to Michael McGillicuddy.
Oh my god, I'm actually crying. It's the funniest shit I've ever fucking heard. Oh my god. Oh my god. Way too hot for these shenanigans, man. Axel's father is crazy.
Just a subpar match.
Yeah,
Subpar
nothing special.
Yeah. Yeah, the pappy of David Flair and the pappy
he has way more famous kids.
Michael McGillicuddy could not get the job done. They couldn't bring out their A game for this one, but it's to lead to another match down the road. You know?
Yeah, because at least the ending gave you something that's like, all right, there's still more to this.
Exactly.
But the first encounter was kind of...
We're laying the groundwork, you know?
Yeah.
We're laying the groundwork for the Texas redneck.
As Triple H says, you just gotta wait to see it play out.
That's right. The story never ends, apparently.
Match 7.
Yeah, well, after we have Gene Okerlund bringing out J.J. Dillon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. J.J. Dillon pulls out a contract. He says the main event is back on. It was never off to begin with. They can't get away with this shit. Eric Bischoff comes out. He says, you ain't got the stroke. Okay? You ain't got the stroke. You ain't got the authority. And J.J. Dillon, he hands him the contract. He says it's notarized, it's signed, sealed, and delivered. The match is happening. And Eric Bischoff is just like, you ain't got the stroke. You ain't got the authority.
Told you.
Right? Who do you think you are? And J.J. Dillon is like, listen, either Hogan is out there or, there's going to be some ramifications. All right? You're going to be sued. You're going to be sued for everything you've got. And Eric Bischoff is like, you ain't got the stroke. All right? If Sting shows up tonight, we want Nitro. Just flippant.
Oh, yeah.
NWO wants Nitro.
Because this is back when he wanted to do NWO Nitro.
That's
right.
That's right. And give WCW like fucking
I think it was
Saturday night or some
shit. I think they were gonna give them, remember Thunder? I think they were gonna give them Thunder. I think it was gonna be NWO Nitro and WCW Thunder. That was the plan.
Wow. Wow.
Listen, they really they struck gold with NWO, but they tried to milk it for way too much.
Honestly. Match number 7 is Larry Zbyszko, old Larry Z, as a special guest referee, taking on Big Scott Hall and sexy flexy Lex Luger. Yes. NWO is thinking of ways to mess this up. Right or wrong? Yes or no? Yay or nay? Says Dusty Rhodes.
What do they give him before the show? It has to be something.
I just love it. Scott Hall's coming down. He's only there with 6 because Kevin Nash is gone from television right now. And therefore, Scott Hall and 6 were filling in for tag team champions. And Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner, the Steiner brothers, finally got their moment on an episode of Nitro, defeating them for the tag team championships.
Finally, God.
So
when they didn't do that Road Wild, I thought that it was a wrap.
Yeah, and I feel like they've missed the opportunity, and it doesn't really matter now. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, kind of nod to current gen, but not talking about it.
No, you gotta see how it plays out.
Yeah. They didn't go through enough adversity. Ran them over with a car.
He needs a redemption story. That's what he needs.
They flipped the car over. They spray maced him in the eyes. Did Scott Steiner got arrested?
Got one of them arrested too.
Yeah. They killed him with some steel posts to Rick Steiner.
It's all about the comeback story.
It's all about the comeback. And the comeback just keeps on happening. So NWO thinking of ways to mess this up. Right or wrong? Yes or no? Yay or nay? And Bobby and Tony are just like, yay.
Another in their heads are like, what the fuck does that mean? What?
A tie-up to begin. Larry is having to pull off the men from out of the corner. A side headlock by Scott. Luger is able to power out and then grabs the hair to Scott Hall in order to keep it on. Larry forces the break. A test of strength offer by Scott Hall. A sucker punch into the kick, I should say.
Yeah.
And and then locks in the bow and arrow stretch. And then Dusty Rhodes is trying to talk, and he's like, "Don't contradict me." And Tony Schiavone is like, "Well, I'm getting ready to contradict you again, buddy." And they are just fighting on the desk now, it seems. Luger gets up, he reverses, he goes for the 10-punch spot. But Larry kind of does a slight distraction. Say, like, get on off of there, get off. Yeah. And Scott Hall manages to do an atomic drop clothesline combo. A running corner clothesline by Scott Hall gets a 2 count, a very slow 2 count by Larry Z. A follow-away slam by Scotty H. A sleeper hold on Lex Luger for a while. Lex Luger is able to fire up and then hit a back suplex to a double down. My favorite Dusty Rhodes comment of all time. He's looking drowsy. He's looking drowsy right now, baby. Scott kicks Luger out of the ring. Hall is keeping him out, but Larry Zbyszko is not having any of it. He fights with Larry and then gets backdropped over the top rope by Larry Zbyszko. Beautiful moment. Eric Bischoff comes out. Larry Zbyszko kicks him in the ribs to get him off of there. Luger and Scott Hall both beat the 10 count back in. Luger starts to fire up, starts with a big comeback, atomic drop, forearm shot. Torture rack is called. But then 6 comes in during the Eric Bischoff distraction, kicks Lex Luger in the back of the dome piece.
Yep.
Hall hits the outsider's edge, and Scott Hall picks up the victory. Or does he?
Ooh.
Because Larry Zbyszko says, I want to see the replay. I want to say it right now. So they pull up the replay, shows that 6 delivers the kick to the back of the neck. Larry reverses the decision. He says, this match is going on. I just saw the replay. This match restarts. He starts to count. Scott Hall runs back in. Torture rack by Lex Luger is put on very quickly after that, after Larry pushes Scott Hall into it. Then the bell rings. Lex Luger wins, but the attack begins.
Yeah.
Eric Bischoff, 6, and Scott Hall lay the beat down on Larry Zbyszko, and then the symbolic 3 count. Eric Bischoff plants his foot on Larry Zbyszko's chest. Scott Hall counts a 3.
Jesus. This was a decent match.
Mm-hmm.
It's your basic Scott Hall match.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one moment in the match that I found funny when Luger went to do the what's it called, like bringing Scott Hall's arms behind his back.
Yeah.
And you can clearly see that Scott Hall is actually holding on to Luger.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you could just let him go. So that was a funny moment. Other than that,
not much to it.
Not much. The ending was a little bit confusing. Just because once they restarted the match, even though Larry called for the bell, I don't think the bell actually rang because 6 interfered at the exact same time.
It did.
So I don't think there's an actual winner to this match. But yeah, it was a weird match. It was a weird co-main event.
The quality is definitely going downhill here.
Yeah, it was a weird co-main event, especially when you have like these 2 huge stars. The fact that it didn't deliver was kind of like, oh, what the fuck?
Very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. Las Vegas street fight time. A glorified last man standing match.
Yeah.
Essentially. One man must not be able to answer the 10 count.
Mm-hmm.
It is Randy Macho Man Savage taking on Diamond Dallas Page. Now, the match begins on the outside with some brawling.
Yeah.
We get right to it. Both men, they have a great entrance. They both come out, Macho Man wearing the Slim Jim outfit. It looks beautiful.
And each match, they're both 1-1 against each other in pay-per-view. So this is
indeed
the ultimate grudge match.
Indeed it is. So outside brawling to start. Macho attacks the now 6-month injured ribs of Diamond Dallas Page because he's taped up again. Page snap mare with the ripped shirt of Macho Man Randy Savage once they are in ring. Macho gets the advantage and hangs him up on the ropes though. Macho choking him in the corner. Page beating the Lord out of Savage in the corner. Just beating the piss out of him. Double clothesline. Both men are down. A neck breaker then by Page once they get back to their feet. Macho is able to block the first of 3 diamond cutter attempts and bails out of the ring. Springboard crossbody by DDP. You don't see that too often. But then top rope by Macho with the bombs away. Thank you, Gorilla Monsoon. The axe handle off the top. Into the crowd now. Axe handle off the railing, which was kind of fun. Mm-hmm. They crowd brawl a bit over to the staging area. Into the tombstones go Macho Man. A body slam through the casket. And then Diamond Dallas Page picks up a glass plate and smashes it off the head of Randy Savage. And then the greatest call of all time by Dusty Rhodes. He wobble-legged him. Did he wobble like him? Huh? I like this.
Fam, Dusty Rhodes is not serious, man.
Oh, baby.
We gotta do an episode just reacting to all his fucking quotes, man.
Lord.
We'll be here for days.
Back to ringside, into the steel steps goes Diamond Dallas Page. Macho Man grabs the camera and brings it into the ring, looks to hit Diamond Dallas Page with it, but gets kicked back into the Macho Man's face. Liz, all of a sudden, materializes with a glass plate of her own, and she smashes it off the head of the referee for no reason. It's a no DQ match.
It's so random.
But she just destroys him over the face. Liz then grabs a cord and starts choking. Here comes Kimberly Page. What is happening? Nick Patrick is here with a medic as Kimberly drags Elizabeth off.
Yeah.
With Dusty Rhodes screaming catfight. Nick Patrick is here to save the day. Page begins to fight back. He goes for the diamond cutter, but Macho Man grabs the rope. Diamond Dallas Page smashes his head. A very shitty elbow drop by the Macho Man here. Nearly gets a 10 count though, but Page gets up. A massive elbow by Randy Savage again. This time Page gets up at 9, counters a body slam into the diamond cutter. Third time's the charm. Both men up. Macho Man blocks the diamond cutter with a low blow. Diamond Dallas Page then rolls to the outside of the ring at this point, and here comes a fake Sting.
It's Sting.
This is apparently Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, because he still has the boots on.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So with a bat, hits Diamond Dallas Page with the bat into the injured ribs. Diamond Dallas Page cannot answer the 10 count. Macho Man picks up the victory.
Disappointing end to the feud.
Yeah. It was a good match though.
It was an excellent match.
I thought it was a great match, yeah.
I think we got a Raven cameo at one point.
We did.
There was a cat fight. There was a bunch of shit going on in the match.
Yes.
It's just the ending, because as we're gonna see in the main event, I don't know what they're trying to do with this thing angle. I don't get it. Maybe I'm not hip. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but I don't get what they're trying to do with this whole fake Sting, because they did it on Nitro.
Yeah.
They're doing it tonight.
Yes,
I'm like, what the fuck? What's the point of this?
I don't know. But they take the fake Sting to a whole new level as Michael Buffer leads us to the main event.
Yeah.
Buff the stuff Buffer to announce us in.
I like that. Buff the stuff Buffer. I like that.
He says
The survivor, if there is one,
Oh, shit.
will be declared the winner.
this steel cage match is now being touted as the biggest cage match ever of all time. This is 3 weeks since Hell in a Cell. It is non-title again.
I was waiting for you to get to that part. Non-title.
So Roddy has stolen Hollywood Hogan's belt.
Okay, do you have Michael Buffer's full entrance speech?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because
Yes.
he doesn't explain how the match is won.
Yeah, that's right. All he says is the survivor.
Yeah, he doesn't explain how the match is done. It is won.
Yeah.
Fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
Match starts. There's no ref in the ring.
Not at all. No.
So everyone's like, okay, there's no ref.
Must be escape the cage. It must be, surely.
So let's start the review.
Let's see. So Roddy has stolen Hogan's belt.
Yep.
Here we go. They're one apiece on each other. Starcade and then Super Brawl. Even though Roddy Piper has locked in the sleeper hold and technically gotten the victory twice over Hogan.
Yeah.
Will third time be a charm? Let's see. Roddy Piper comes down. Hogan has nobody with him, by the way.
Yeah.
Nobody comes out to his aid. It's just Hogan. Roddy Piper starts, he gets in, and he starts whipping a Hogan and then biting him on the ass.
That was so funny. Because he gets in there, too. He gets in there.
He does. Then he bites him on the back. In the ring, Hogan starts begging off and he gets the poke to the eyes. Piper then delivers an atomic drop. Hogan tries to run and climb the cage, but gets a low blow by Roddy Piper. Both men lightly smack each other off the cage wall.
Yeah, very lightly.
Very lightly. Hogan tries to escape through the door. Both men go out of the cage at the same time.
So it's a draw.
The bell does not ring.
Of course not.
Nothing happens. They fight on the outside for a bit. Hogan whips the cage door into Roddy Piper's face. That looked ugly. And then Hogan says, I'm out of here. After he puts Piper down and has the advantage, Hogan's like, I'm out of here. I'm done. And then one Sting appears on the ramp.
What do you mean one Sting? Sting?
Yeah.
Sting appears on the ramp.
One Sting appears on the ramp.
You're doing it again. It's Sting. It's just Sting.
Roddy Piper and the father of Brooke Hogan go back.
Was she TNA president, Brooke Hogan?
The president of the Knockouts.
Oh, yeah.
Back into the cage now. This crowd is quiet. Very, very quiet.
Because they're probably confused as to how someone wins this.
These guys are just taking turns lightly bumping each other into the cage. Now they climb this incredibly frail and fragile looking cage.
And it's not like it's a tall ass cage.
It's a tall cage.
It's very tall.
Yeah. It's the makeshift House of Horrors cage from Halloween Havoc, the Cage of Doom or whatever. Yes. So they go up the cage.
Because one thing about the cage.
Yes.
It's a steel cage match, but it's not the regular steel cage.
No, not attached to the ring.
No, this is the steel cage. This steel cage attaches to like the barricade almost. Like it's a big ass cage.
It is. A second Sting appears as they gingerly climb the cage. Nobody gives a shit as there is a murmur of confusion sweeping the audience. Both men scale up the cage. Both men scale down the cage. Hogan gets to whipping on Roddy Piper, and then Hogan tries to leave the cage once again over the top. Sting then stops him from leaving. Stings in big air quotations. Roddy goes to catch him. Another Sting. And then another Sting. And then another Sting. And then another Sting. Both men are fighting on top for a second. On top of the cage. Both men start going down the cage.
Yeah, because they get an amazing shot of them fighting on top of the cage for like a second, and then it's over.
And then they just come right on down. Both men start scaling down the cage. Another Sting, by the way. And then this is absolute garbage. Choking with the shirt does Hogan to Piper. Hogan then drops the big leg and then drops a second leg drop.
Yeah.
And then calls for a referee to get in. Piper kicks out of 2 Hogan leg drops. Some bullshit politics if I've ever seen it.
Oh my god.
And not a sound from the crowd either.
Because they're all confused. There's like 9 fucking Stings.
And then, after all of these Stings come out, here comes Randy Savage that bolts past a Sting.
Like, there was 2 standing in front of him, just like fucking
shoulders him. Yeah. None of the Stings come to do anything about it. Macho Man scales the cage, and good lord, his legs explode on impact. He jumps from the top of the cage to the ground.
Because again, this isn't a Jimmy Snuka cage.
No.
This isn't a regular. This is a tall ass fucking cage.
Yeah.
And this
From
man
the floor.
lands on his fucking legs.
Yeah, because Hogan doesn't catch him.
No.
Doesn't catch him at all. Fuck you, Hogan.
He barely pretends to get hit.
Yeah.
Like, he barely pretends that he got hit. And you just see poor Macho Man just land and just collapse to the floor.
All of his knees. His knees are bust up. And how Macho Man gets right back up in order to get tossed out by Piper. Hogan gets locked into the sleeper. The three hands go down again. Roddy Piper wins.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper beats Hogan dead center of the ring. But that doesn't matter, not one iota, because the Piper gets beat down. A Sting comes in and gets immediately fucked over. Loses the mask and the hair.
Yeah. That was that looked like a botch. That had to be a botch.
I think it was. But we're not done there. Piper gets handcuffed to the cage, and both Hogan and Savage are beating down on him. Eric Bischoff has entered the cage.
Hogan even puts on the mask that the Sting dropped.
Yeah. The Stings are worthless at this point.
Yeah.
And then a fan scales the cage.
Yeah.
And the camera is on him because I don't believe the camera people understand that that's not a real Sting, and that's not a planned Sting.
Yeah.
It's a fan.
Yeah.
But the fan is able to get in. The fake Sting tackles the fan because he's like, oh no,
and pins him up against the fucking cage and shit. Yeah.
But then Macho Man and Hogan come over. And they grab the fan. And Macho Man, you can tell, wants to beat the kid within an inch of his life.
Yeah.
Hogan is throwing worked punches.
Which that's the part that confused me. Because I'm like, is this guy a plant?
Very confused, but apparently he's not a plant. Apparently this is a fan.
Really?
Yes, but apparently...
So he just went with...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Hogan, I guess, is trying to save face because he's still a Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
And I guess he doesn't want to be seen beating the piss out of a fucking fan.
Yeah.
Macho Man is trying to kill him. You can't tell if this is a work or a shoot. Roddy Piper has been chained up against the cage.
Yeah.
Nobody understands what's going on. The Stings have evaporated. There's no Stings afoot. Ugly, ugly stuff. End of the show.
Yeah, because it's weird because I saw some people say that he was a plant. Some people saying that he wasn't.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the fuck?
Because they kept the camera on him for so long, it makes it seem like he's a plant.
Yeah, because
and Hogan throwing the punches.
The way the fake Sting reacted and the way Savage reacted, it's like this guy's clearly not a part of this.
Yeah.
But then because Hogan throws the work, that's what throws people off. They're like, wait, why would you?
It's very strange. Yeah. It's very strange. But I truly believe that it's not a plant. And he wasn't supposed to get in there because, nobody else is dressed like him.
Yeah, because
he very clearly
he just had the mask,
he just had
but then
paint.
he had just
had paint.
Yeah, and then he just had street clothes.
Yeah,
on.
everybody else was in Sting garb.
Yeah, and the fact that the other Sting tackled him, if anyone would know if he's a plant or not, would be the guy.
Should be him.
Yeah.
But because they're get him in the ring, and there's security guards in there that are trying to get the kid out of there.
Yeah.
While Savage has got a bear hug on him, I want to get this man down and kill him.
Yeah.
Because that's who Macho Man Randy Savage is. What a mess! What a mess!
But
-5 stars.
The one thing I will give this main event. Is that this is...
Can you give them anything?
Of course.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to give them one thing.
Okay, and what is that?
This is the most WCW main event ever. Everything that could go wrong went wrong.
And it only happens with Hogan and Piper. Because this happened. There was a fan at Starrcade.
Yeah.
There was a fuck up at Super Brawl when the leg was supposed to be under the rope, and it wasn't.
Leg. And
now here with a fan and madness and just this Macho Man breaking his legs.
No one knowing the rules.
Yeah, nobody knows the rules. The ref is out and then
not being for the title. It's literally the perfect WCW main event.
The grossest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, we are on to the end now.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss Match of the Night, Standout Star, the overall show grade, yes, but we're going to do what we did in last season, in which we discuss who we think is the Standout Star overall out of the whole season that we've done. Is this storyline worth the hype? Because I originally was like, yeah, this is an underrated feud. This is an underrated second helping.
Okay.
I believe that Starrcade 96 is better than 97. We're going to explore this. Were these guys past their prime? Things of that nature. And then finally, we've got the overall show grade. And our overall grade for the entirety of WCW 96 and 97.
Let's go. Let's do it.
We must first begin with the match of the night for Halloween Havoc. Slim Jims! Halloween Havoc 1997. Who do you have for me?
That goes without saying. You know. It's
Ray
Eddie
and Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie and Ray.
Yes.
My standout stars are also Eddie and Ray.
Oh, you're doing them as package
Yeah,
deal?
yeah. I'm packaging them both, giving them both their awards. Just an amazing match on a very confusing and very weird card. And it kind of also...
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
go.
No. You go ahead when I get my piece.
Yeah.
I'll say.
It's also one of those, like, I always see them mention this match.
Yeah.
I've never heard people mention any other match from this pay-per-view, and now I understand why.
Yes.
Now I understand why. Yeah.
Yes. And your overall show grade, good sir?
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
Okay.
It was just decent enough to not be a 2, but also nothing that you should go back and force yourself to watch.
Right,
Yeah.
other than the title match,
Yeah.
the Cruiserweight belt. Yes, I have to echo you on the match of the night, absolutely. It is Eddie and Ray, for sure. I'm giving the standout star solely to Eddie Guerrero, though.
Fair.
I felt like he was a very good foil, and because there have been a lot of people in the X against Rey Mysterio spot. And as we've seen over the podcast, and they've delivered, their wrestling performance has been stellar. Ultimo Dragon, Dean Malenko, whoever else it has been.
Yeah.
Steven Regal.
Prince Iaukea.
Yeah, Prince Iaukea. Many people. Eddie Guerrero was the first person that I believe brought so much character work.
Yeah.
As well as the wrestling. So we got a nice merger of the two combos of character for heel work and for wrestling. And I think that puts the edge to it because everybody else has brought wrestling work, a little bit of character, but it's always been focused on the in-ring.
Wrestling, yeah.
Eddie Guerrero did something different there, so I enjoy that. As for the overall show grade, I'm giving it a 3.5 because I enjoyed the Eddie match, Eddie and Ray, and I also enjoyed the Las Vegas Street Fight. I think those two matches made it good. And the thing is that on paper, this card was very good.
Yeah.
The opening of Ultimo Dragon, Yuji Nagata, pretty good match. Gedo and Jericho, had it not been for that horrific bump and botch, it was a fine match.
Yeah.
There were also some other matches on here that weren't awful. Like Scott Hall and Lex Luger wasn't awful. Underwhelming, certainly, but not awful. The only real terrible match, Disco and Jackie.
Yeah, that one was bad.
And then Alex Wright and Mongo. But besides that, like not awful. Not awful.
Yeah. Because even the Kurt and Rick match, like you can kind of and you can kind of understand the DQ.
Yeah.
So even that one's decent.
And it was fine. But the main event fucking tanks this show.
Yeah.
How you have one of the best matches ever for WCW and the worst match on the same card is beyond me. But by golly, they did it. But I think 3 out of 5 is fine. Perfectly middle of the road.
All right. So I'm gonna start with you right away. Standout star of the whole feud.
Standout star of the entire duration of the podcast is Diamond Dallas Page.
Same.
Yes.
Same.
From where he came from at the beginning of this podcast to where he has ended.
Yep.
At the top of the card, firmly at the top of the card.
Yeah, that's true, because when we first started, he was a heel.
Yes, and a lower mid-card heel.
Yeah, and now we're all the way up to co-main event.
Yes.
In one of the best feuds of the year.
Yes, and he would continue to grow, continue to be a top star and a top main event guy. So yeah, the turnaround for Diamond Dallas Page has been stellar.
Because we criticized him a lot when we first started the
did we ever?
When we first started.
Did we ever? But yeah, and just deserving as well. But from the start of January to October, fantastic turnaround for Diamond Dallas Page. And yeah, can't say enough good things about him. He put on good matches all the time.
Yeah.
He never had a real bad match, other than his character being all over the place at the beginning.
Where he tried to do like 9 different gimmicks at the same time. Yeah.
So good on him, because he found his place. The people loved him. Being an adversary to the NWO.
And the pairing with Savage was just money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good stuff. So Diamond Dallas Page, you are the same.
Yep.
So let's move on to the favorite match across the entire WCW podcast run.
Yes. So I'm going with Ultimo Dragon versus Dean Malenko.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
At Starrcade 96?
Yeah.
Yeah, me
You
too.
God damn it.
Man, yeah, but it's true though, because I remember back now the perfect build for Dragon.
Yep.
That perfect
He came
build
out with all the
up
belts
to the title match. He has
you
the 8
got
belts.
angry,
He needs the 9th.
Angry Malenko. That was
Absolutely.
fucking amazing.
Yeah, very, very good match. I will always remember that. But I actually want to give special mention to Hogan and Rodman versus Lex Luger and the Giants.
Holy shit.
Because that was such a fucking entertaining match.
That was a fun match. That was a very fun match.
Yeah, on a very good show.
Yeah.
I remember that, but damn, the main event was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
and I
entertaining.
was super surprised by Rodman. I thought
Exactly.
he was going to be way worse.
Exactly. And he does end up stinking out the joint in later outings.
Yeah.
But for this one, he was very, very good, and I thought they did a good job. So special mention to them. The Dark Horse, the one that surprised us most during the podcast, or the ones that we feel didn't get enough credit, weren't in the right place, but were always right there where they were supposed to be.
I'm going to go with Ultimo Dragon again.
You're going with the Dragon.
Yeah,
That's a very good shout.
Yeah, because he's
very good.
He was like from Halloween Havoc 96 till now. I just feel like he's been the one that just keeps on delivering.
Yeah.
I don't think he's had a bad match since we started.
He did not. Not ever.
It just sucks that because of the way wrestling was back then, he was kind of stuck in that like opening matches type of thing, not really getting a proper storyline. I think they gave him one of the Sonny Ono stuff, but that was still kind of left in the opening matches type of thing.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna give him my dark horse.
Very good. Very good. For the funnies, and because he legitimately did surprise me, it's Alex Wright.
Okay, that's not bad.
However, that is for the funnies, and what it should be, and what I am going with is Rey Mysterio Jr.
Again, both of those are good picks, because even though
very good,
because Alex Wright, the only problem with him is that we only got like
exactly
a couple weeks
exactly right.
But he definitely.
He came out of nowhere, and he was such a genuine surprise, and I freaking love Alex right now, and I definitely want to go and see more of his stuff in the future, and I really do want to give it to him, but we did only see him like twice. Whereas Rey Mysterio was a constant fixture, a constant, like, again, innovator, damn near match of the night person on a regular basis. And Rey Mysterio starts and ends the podcast run with amazing performances. Because I remember that Halloween Havoc match that he first had. It was incredible. It was amazing. And we got that never say die attitude right off the bat with him. And it never stopped. And to culminate here with gold, definitely a dark horse of the podcast.
Okay, so before we go on to the final grade for the
Yes.
feud,
Yes.
who was the worst wrestler of the feud?
JEFFJARRETT Jeff Jarrett.
I actually have Jeff too.
You're kidding.
Yeah, just because he
Wow.
bailed on the feud. I didn't like that. I didn't like just because he bailed on the feud. So I have to give him the worst.
Because at least with Steve Mongo, I at least got a couple chuckles out of him.
And we got that one match with the football player.
Yes,
that was
we did.
decent.
Well,
Decent.
if you say so. But with Jeff Jarrett, never liked one of his matches. His gimmick was shit. His promos were shit.
Yeah.
He was in a feud that just didn't make any sense to me.
Yep.
Then he bailed on said feud. All of his matches were 5 to 10 minutes worth of stalling
Yep.
and barely doing anything. He fucking sucked. He
Alright.
absolutely sucked.
All right, let's do it.
Yes, because now we
Now
must
it's
discuss the feud itself, what we brought ourselves here to discover, to unravel, to examine, and that is of Hollywood Hogan and Roddy Piper 10 years after their first collision. And let's talk about it. We talk about the fact that they drew a hell of a lot of money
Yeah.
each time that they got in the ring together.
Yep.
Starrcade did huge numbers, best numbers for Starrcade in the history of Starrcade up until that point.
Mhm.
Super Brawl, another huge box office gate, huge pay-per-view buy rates, sold out, all of that jazz for Super Brawl.
Mhm.
And then once again, this was 6-7 months because February to October. They
Yeah.
didn't touch after that other than, their little bit of uncensored. Their next singles match again, huge buy rates for Halloween Havoc. Huge numbers, sold out crowd, 3 times a charm.
Yeah.
Match of the century, yada, yada, yada. These two men had the star power. They did.
Yeah.
They had the star power to sell. Starrcade 1996, I will stand by as a good match. It's good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good. It's not great. It's a serviceable, good main event.
Okay.
Meant very much to be held on the laurels of the star quality and the, entertainment storytelling and the shock victory of Roddy Piper. Clean.
That's what
Yeah.
was the biggest takeaway from that match.
Yes.
That shock victory.
Absolutely. However, we got to review the train wrecks
Yeah.
as they happened.
Yep.
Super Brawl was a train wreck, and Halloween Havoc was somehow even worse. Following the Nitros and stuff like that, really didn't get too much interaction between Hogan and Piper. We
And
really didn't.
That was my biggest thing with this
Yeah.
feud. Yeah.
Yeah. From Starrcade and Starrcade to Super Brawl, yes, very much so. You got a lot from Super Brawl because it started at Halloween Havoc and then carried over. And then you had basically a good 6-month period as well because you had Halloween Havoc up until Super Brawl,
Yep.
where they were communicating quite a bit, and it was very much Hogan versus Piper, Hogan versus Piper. So yeah, the question to you is the grade of the feud itself. Was it worth revisiting 10 years later?
Mhm.
Do you feel that it lived up to the hype for any of the matches? And yeah, those are really the two base questions. Did it live up to the hype at any point? Did these men look good coming out? That's the third one. Did
Okay.
either of these men look good coming out of the feud?
All right. So
There we go.
I don't think this was a good feud.
Mhm.
This feud was one of the biggest headaches to follow. I don't know how they did it in the 90s.
Mm.
Just following it like the way we're doing it was such a headache because they don't interact with each other. There's no, half of this feud is Hogan versus Lex Luger.
Mhm. Yes.
and Piper being a GM or some shit.
Yeah.
Like the matches, they were fun, but they were that fun chaos that like doesn't really resolve anything at the except for the first match, which was decent, especially with the ending. You're like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
The other two were just noise and loud. It was just noise, and like you didn't even get any big moves or anything like that.
No.
I think Hogan was still decent enough that he could go. Piper, I think, was a bit past his prime. He was a bit ripe.
Yeah. Yeah.
They tried to disguise it with like, with the rest holds and just adding a lot of shenanigans into the match. But
Yes.
when it was just them two, you can tell that he was not the same as before.
Yeah.
I don't think this was a feud that was worth reviewing. I don't think people should review this thing. Now, if you want to relive 1997 as a whole, then yes, because I did have fun reviewing 1997 WCW.
A lot of gold. A
lot of good shit is in there.
Yeah.
That's just kind of hidden because the feud kind of distracts you from those things. So if you're looking at that, if you're looking at like kind of like reliving the war, like you're looking at WCW and Raw, sort of like what we were doing, then yeah, this is definitely worth checking out. But if you're just here for Hogan, Piper,
Yeah.
it might be a rough watch. It might be a rough watch. So overall, I'll give, if I have to give it a grade, I'll give it like a 2. Because the one match was good, and the other two matches were fun if it weren't for just all the shenanigans going on. Yeah.
It was a disaster.
Yeah.
It was a disaster.
For your last point, I think both men came out looking bad from this feud because Hogan lost twice, and Piper beat Hogan twice, but doesn't have the title to show for it.
No.
So it's like, what was the point here? Piper has no title. Hogan has 2 losses.
Man.
So,
well,
but that's just my opinion. I don't know.
Well, when you put it like that, hard to argue. Oh God. Yeah. This was not a good feud.
It wasn't, man.
No. Roddy Piper needed a Ric Flair to bounce around for him to make him look good, because I remember that match from Bash at the Beach and how good that match was and how much I get sucked into that match. And he looked very good.
Yeah.
The tag matches with the Outsiders, with, them, those are pretty good as well. But the actual Hogan Piper feud itself, Starrcade 96, I stand by, very good show. And the ending, Roddy Piper getting the win, getting the hand held high, having put Hogan down clean.
Yeah.
Clean as a whistle. Like, maybe a touch of shenanigans, but Hogan was locked in that sleeper, and 1, 2, 3, done.
Yeah, because I've never watched this feud, so even when I was rewatching it the first time and I saw Hogan's arm go down for the third time, I was like, oh.
Done. And
shit.
that's significant. And that made Piper look like $1 million, I think. But the follow-up match, and not being for the title, and then when it is for the title, it's like, oh God, like, it's like Piper has to win, so we're gonna make you pass out to the sleeper again.
Yeah.
Like, I have to get the visual win, and then Savage is gonna fuck up pulling you under the rope. And then again here at Halloween Havoc, like, okay, fine, like, I'm gonna get the visual win, you're gonna go down to the sleeper again, but we're gonna handcuff you and beat the shit out of you and
keep the title.
And keep the title, and Hogan's gonna look, stand tall in this abysmal match.
Again, like, this feud was about Hogan versus everyone except
Yeah.
Piper.
Yeah.
Hogan Sting.
Yeah.
Hogan Luger.
Mhm. Hogan the Giant.
Hogan the Giant.
Yeah, a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, absolutely right. It doesn't look good. I think for the sheer drawing power,
Yeah.
it was worth the revisit by WCW,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think you have Roddy Piper.
Oh no,
there.
yeah. From a company standpoint, from a monetary standpoint, this was one of the best feuds ever.
Exactly, right? For money making, for eyes on the product, they always were ahead during the Monday Night War in '97. I think it was worth cashing in on.
Yeah.
But towards the end, it really, really hurt your business. It really hurt your company. Because these are critically panned matches. Age in the cage. They had no business being in that cage. I don't know why you'd use that cage.
Yeah.
Why would you use that cage?
You almost blew fucking Savage's knees out.
Like, just so bad.
And I feel like this is one of those feuds that if social media was around,
No.
it wouldn't have gone so long.
No.
Because people would have just been like, hey, this is some bullshit.
There'd be no love.
Because in the 90s, it's kind of like word takes a little longer to spread.
Yes.
You kind of could cash in on that, you know?
Indeed. So yeah, I mean, neither man kind of comes out looking very good after, as you explained, you know, Piper gets the wins, but he doesn't get the belt, and Hogan takes the losses, and yeah, he might still have the belt, and but yeah, and it does kind of chip at him leading into Starrcade, because Sting is like, he's not going after an undefeated Hogan that's reigned terror. He's going after a belt. Yeah. He's going after the title at that point. But be that as it may, the grade that I give to it is a 2.5, because I think historically it has a bit of significance for Hogan losing clean. Yeah. It has a good match at Starrcade. They drew great money. And
all the fucking great openers.
All the great openers. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, it has to give a 2.5, but that's as much as I'm able to give the feud. It was a rough one.
It was a
rough one. But so funny.
Yeah, no, again, if you want to watch some of those pay-per-views, definitely go, because there's some gems in there. There's some funny moments in there. Like, they weren't terrible pay-per-views, but if you're just looking at the feud, might be hit or miss.
Absolutely.
Might be hit or miss.
Absolutely. And so there we go. That is a closure on the WCW chapter of our lives. And we're going to be moving forth with a new feud.
We're doing it, man.
Or less of a feud and more of a storyline, because it is all encompassing, this next feud, across the WWE in circa 2003. I brought this to your attention, just John, because I have deemed it the McManus angle.
Oh shit. Can't wait for this one.
It is in 2003, and we will be starting in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. No Way Out 2003. Hulk Hogan and The Rock 2, the rematch from WrestleMania 18. And the reason that I call it the McManus angle is because this is where Vince McMahon is all over the show in SmackDown of 2003. It is going to go from No Way Out 2003 and is going to culminate at Survivor Series 2003. In which, just some of the highlights for our gentle listeners, we're going to be looking at Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 19, where Hulk Hogan turns into Mr. America.
Oh my God.
Where Roddy Piper returns. Where...
we cannot get away from Hogan and Piper.
Where Zach Gowen makes his debut and goes against Vince McMahon. Where Vince McMahon decides to have an I Quit match with his daughter. where Vince McMahon gets involved in the main event in which cost The Undertaker the World Championship, where he sides with Brock Lesnar in the main event scene for the title, and capping off where it all ends.
Buried alive.
A buried alive match in which Vince McMahon goes against The Undertaker.
Let's do it. I'm hyped for this. I've always wanted to see this version of McMahon in its full.
Oh,
so
yes.
this is going to be interesting.
In his most evil,
this is going to be
in his most tyrannical, I believe more so than 2006 when he's God. I believe more so in 1998 when he's the all-encompassing corporate boss.
Yeah.
2003, where he is absolutely ridiculous. He brings back Sable, a woman who notoriously sued them for sexual harassment, only to come back and be Vince McMahon's plaything.
Oh, yeah. Is this the walking the dog angle?
Oh, absolutely. There's so much here.
Oh, my
There's
God.
so much here
I can't wait for this shit.
that we are going to dig into and explore.
We have the punishment episode right
Indeed.
before that. So
Indeed.
that punishment episode and the Saturday night main event.
And a Saturday night's main event will
so
be coming
we
to you.
got a two episode intermission.
Absolutely.
And then we start with season 3. That is
Yes.
the McMenace era.
Absolutely. The McMenace era comes to you. But until then, thank you so much for joining us for this, the final episode of this season of the podcast. We hope that you have enjoyed. And if you did, leave us a rating, review, like, share, and subscribe. If anybody out there is interested in the old classic reviews of professional wrestling and you seem to know them, give them a shout our way. Send them our way. Just say, hey, take a look at these guys and tell us what you think about them. Where can they find us, Just John?
You can tweet at us at Twitter at the Colossal Tussle 1.
Indeed.
You can follow us on YouTube at the Colossal Tussle, Spotify, Apple Music, Stitcher, Audible. What else?
iHeartRadio.
Google Podcasts.
Google Podcasts.
Wherever you can find a podcast, you will find our beautiful voices.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We will be there. And we appreciate your support as we continue to grow on this. Our podcast has been just a tremendous amount of fun. And if you wish to support us even that much more, you have the opportunity for us to sponsor whatever it is that you would like us to sponsor. You can hit us up with an email, and that email goes to colossaltusslepod@gmail.com. That is colossaltusslepod@gmail.com. We will sponsor anything. We support Canadian independent wrestling. We support Canadians. We support any and all things and would be happy to plug your merchandise or your shows or whatever it is on our podcast.
And remember to go on Twitter when this episode drops so you guys can vote to see what the punishment episode is.
Absolutely.
Between WrestleMania 9 and WCW in North Korea.
The collision
in North
Korea. Yes. You'll find the poll on Twitter. You will find the poll on Instagram. You will find the poll on Spotify if you follow us and listen to us there. There will be multiple places. We will tally up the votes and we will have it for you. So, for Just John, for Hollywood Just John, I am Rowdy Roddy Johnson, and we are out.